Good morning and welcome to the 2025 European Rowing Coastal and Beach Sprint Championships. We are coming to you from Antalya, Turkiye. My name is Niamh Hayes. I'm going to be bringing you all of the action over the coming days. We have so much to look forward to. We have the club endurance races, the National Federation endurance races and the beach sprints to come up. Let's have a look at the weather. 22 degrees right now, light winds compared to what we've seen over the last few days. There's been quite nasty storms happening, but things have calmed down. Here is the schedule for the morning. We'll be getting going in less than 5 minutes with the first heat of the Club Coastal Men's Solo. As I said, my name is Niamh Hayes, but I am very excited to be here working with the legend that is Martin Cross. Martin, your first ever coastal and beach sprint event.
Absolutely, Niamh. I am a coastal virgin, but getting more and more into it as we go through. Been talking to the competitors this morning. Very tricky to launch some of the boats, and I can tell you something, I would not want to be launching a boat in conditions. The swell from the storms that you heard Niamh talk about has really impacted training. No training in the days leading up to today. So this is the first time competitors have been able to get in the water.
Yeah, it's certainly been tricky. A lot of them have been here since Sunday or Monday, and it's just been too rough out on the water to allow training to go ahead. So a lot of them, actually none of them have been out on the course whatsoever. They haven't had a chance to get around that 4-kilometre course that we're going to see here this morning. So it will be their first shot at it.
Yeah, and because I'm a coastal virgin, I think what I'd like to make clear is there are two types of coastal rowing. There's the beach sprints, which will be happening at the weekends, and that is what's going to be in the Olympics, where the competitors run off from the beach start and sprint around a buoy and come back. And this is the endurance event, Niamh.
Absolutely. Two very different versions of the sport of rowing. This morning we're going to see rowers head out around a 4-kilometre course for the heats and the B finals that we're going to see later on this afternoon. And then once we get to the A finals and the National Federation races, they all go to 6-kilometre races. So 4 kilometres here today. And again, it's going to be a brand new course. Nobody has gone around it. So there's a bit of a guessing game as you head out there now. And we're getting going shortly now with the start of the Club Men's Solo. So as we look out, we have a beautiful office here this morning, Martin. We're looking out and we're seeing all of the boats lining up at that start line.
Yeah, we've got a beautiful office. We've got beats going on in the background, and you could see the incredible beach here. We're about, I guess, 80k east of Antalya, the main town of Antalya. But you can see there our start list for the first heat of the Club Coastal. That C in front is Club Coastal Men's Single, and some big names that we're going to tell you about.
Yes, absolutely. So there's 34 entries in total in the Club Men's Solo. So we're seeing 17 in this heat. We'll see the rest in a later heat. And just 9 of the 9 will be going through to the A final. Everyone else will be making their way to the B final, which we will have on later on this afternoon. But as you said, some big names here in this heat. And I'm excited to hear about the rowers you know from classic rowing, as we'll call it, Martin. But there is one in particular, Igor Boraska, representing Croatia 01, Olympian.
Yeah, he's a big Olympian. I think my last year of rowing in the World Championships back in '94 in Indianapolis, I won the B final in the Cox pairs, and Igor won the A final, so he's world champion. And then, of course, he got that Olympic bronze medal back in Sydney with that amazing Croatian 8. We haven't really seen a Croatian 8 since, but Igor's here. He's actually the coach of the Shandong province in China. He's got special leave because they've got their Chinese Olympic Games coming up soon. I think we're about to have competitors lining up on the start, Niamh, and you're best to describe this.
Yeah, so we see a few different variations at these endurance events. Sometimes we have a beach start where rowers are at the shoreline, they get into the boat and take off from there. But today and this event, it's going to be a water start. So about 100 meters from the shoreline, we have 2 buoys set up, the big yellow triangles that you're seeing on your screen there. It's about 100 meters of a distance between the 2 markers. And so the 17 rowers get to go out there and start wherever they want as long as they're behind it. So it's really interesting to see where people start to bunch up, and particularly in the quads later on, we're going to see a lot of bunching up. In the solo boats, of course, there's a lot of space around them.
And one thing that I was really interested to learn is, although there's a start draw, so for example, number one is, I think, the Spanish competitor, Roja, but although there's a start draw, it doesn't, you can go anywhere on this start line, Neve.
Exactly. When it is a water start, you can literally start wherever you want. And what you'll see is the more experienced rowers will be looking at wind conditions, wave conditions, and they'll be going to the side of the start line where they're going to have the shortest course to go to the first marker, which is 1,000 meters away. So they have a long distance on that first leg, but it can really make a difference, and you can, get a real advantage if you go to the right side of the start line, depending on conditions.
So I'm going to say like 4K. If it was flat water, single in, you'd probably be down in about 16, 17 minutes. I mean, what will these athletes be taking on the sea, do you reckon, for 4K?
Yeah, it depends always on wind and conditions, but you're looking at somewhere 17, 18 minutes. Some could be 24, 25 minutes. It really depends on conditions.
So what's the tactics in the heats? Because basically you said there's 9 through. I mean, that's quite a lot, isn't it?
Yeah,
And these guys have got a race not just once, but a lot of them are doubling up in another event today. So
absolutely. So what they did with this event, because they had to compress the event a little bit with racing cancelled yesterday, they cancelled some of the heats. So any category that had more than or less than 20 boats is now a direct final. But 2 of the ones with heats are the men's solo and the men's double, which are both on today. And a lot of these competitors that we're seeing here in the men's solo will be racing again in the heat of the men's double later on. And potentially if they're in a B final, they'll have that as well later on. So there is a lot of doubling up with races today. But the key with these sort of endurance races is there's 2 kind of races within the 4K. There's the race at the first turn, that 1K race, and then there's a race around the rest of the course.
that's really interesting. So just to let you know, these boats don't have GPS trackers on, so we, like you, will be able to tell who is in the lead when our very friendly drones fly close, and not the big number on the side of the boats, but the identification Toblerone, which all the athletes have on their boats. And that's how we will tell which boat is which until we get to an intermediate timing point where we will let you know who is in the lead. So it's going to work, but we are waiting for these balls that drop. I can't see them up here. I don't think the start is imminent at the moment, Neve. I don't know what you would make of it.
Yeah, so there is a specific starting sequence to these races, and here on the beach, not too far away from us here, there is the starting, we call them the starting balls. So there's 3 balls that will rise, and that will signal that there's 3 minutes to go to the start of the race, and 1 ball will drop with every minute that goes by. So it's a visual cue for the rowers out on the start line, but there'll also be a boat out there with them that will have a hooter. So there's 2 different ways that they'll know that the start is happening. But yes, those balls have not gone up yet, so we're still not within that kind of starting sequence.
Yeah. And the other thing I think to know about that is that these guys are borrowing and sharing boats.
They absolutely are. Very few, maybe bar some local rowers, will have brought their own boats to this event. So a lot of them are sharing. So we'll see like maybe someone in the heat 2 of the men's solo will be using some of the boats that are out here on the water right now. Now we'll see from the shots how there's so many different angles with the boats right now. So obviously there's a lot to contend with because you've waves, you have wind out there. So your boat isn't just going to stay stationary. So you have to constantly adjust to try and, number one, stay behind the line because you do not want to pass it and get that 2-minute time penalty, which is impossible to make up around these courses.
Yeah, it's quite harsh, that. I'd have thought, like, you know, that's like a red card in rugby, almost 2 minutes. It's like, yeah, maybe what can you make up, 30 seconds or something?
Yeah, pretty impossible, pretty impossible. So you'll see a lot of the boats are bunching up together because they obviously know there's a bit of an advantage, particularly maybe over on the far side of the course. And you'll also see some of the boats are sitting sideways, trying to take up as much space as they can, so that once they know that there's 1 minute to go, they'll turn and they'll face out the course. That's just to make sure you don't want to have any clashes or collisions at the start, because again, all that is going to cost you time, which is very hard to make up.
Yeah, so we're still waiting for the start buoys. So there's kind of 3 buoys that go up in the starting gate, I guess, which is here on land, and the athletes have to look at that. And like you heard Niamh say, it's 100 metres away from where we are, and they're not hoisted yet. So any ideas what they're waiting for, Niamh?
I'm not entirely sure right now. We haven't got any notification. Like, they have passed, the course inspection was done. I know that the course was out over the last few days, but because of the storms that were here, there was a little bit of damage and things were moved out of place. So all that had to be sorted this morning. But the course inspection has happened. Everything is good. So not entirely sure at this moment what the delay is. And you know, it's a hard thing to be out there because some of these rowers are out here maybe over 40 minutes as it is. You can go out 40 minutes before your race. They have a little warm-up area that they can go around. So a lot of these rowers, you know, have been out here and they've been getting a feel for the water, because that's really important. The water's going to feel very different every time you go out there.
Yeah, and if you're seeing the sort of 4s, the coxed quadruples going by, we've got heats in the women's Cox quadruples coastals, and they will be happening after this heat of the men's singles is up. And what I found fascinating, Niamh, was that it's not one heat of the coastal men's singles and then another heat. Because they're borrowing boats, the second heat has to be, there are 2 heats, the second heat has to be a couple of hours after.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll see going from a solo boat, then the next one will be a quad, then the next heat will be a double, and then it repeats again. So it's to give rowers a chance to set up their boat the way they want to, particularly in these endurance events. You know, they can make some changes to the boats. And every rower is going to be very different, is going to want a different setup, so they need to allow enough time for that, or if there's any damage done to boats, which does happen in this racing.
So I guess there's an umpire out there who is giving instructions. I know we've got quite a few umpires here who's giving instructions to these competitors like they would in flat water rowing, you know, okay, take it easy, guys. We're going to give the start in a few moments. So at least the athletes at the start, these men will know what's happening.
Exactly. So while we may not know what's happening, Martin, they'll hopefully know on the water. But again, the 3-minute balls have not gone up yet. But hopefully that will happen soon. I'm seeing some thumbs up around the place, so maybe that means something is happening.
Yeah, and you know, I think to talk about some of the athletes, we talked about him already. Patricio Rojas Anthar from Sevilla. Watched his career in lightweight men's 4s and lightweight men's doubles. Fantastic competitor. Now here in coastals, we talked about Igor Baraska as well. We've got other athletes who have I recognise from flat water rowing, like Federico Garibaldi from Italy, or Marc Francois Montfort from Barcelona, who rowed as a junior. Of course, the great Simon Martini from Italy. He'll be going in Heat 2 later on today. So the quality of the athletes is high in this event.
It is, absolutely. Some big names within the coastal circles as well. So you mentioned him there, Patricio Rojas of Spain. He's Spain 04. He won a gold medal at the World Rowing Coastal Championships last year in the mixed double. So he's made his way into the solo boat now. So let's see how he gets on there. We also have Adolfo Ferra Marin of Spain 03. He was 4th at these European Championships last year, so just missing out on the podium. So he'll be hoping for a spot. But what caught my eye was that we have everything from a 16-year-old to a 61-year-old out there in this heat. That's pretty incredible. It's not really something you would see in flat water rowing, is it?
No, it isn't. And the oldest is Reish Ayman from the Bodrum Halamas Kürek Club in Turkiye, who is 61, and he's going in this first heat. And then you've got another lad from Turkiye, Kuzey Kokskal, who is just 16 years of age. So massive difference, and you probably would see that in para, but you probably wouldn't see that in flat water rowing, I guess.
Yeah, it is pretty like one unique aspect of this sport that really you can take it up at any age and keep going for as long as you want. And what's incredible is at this year's championships, for the first time, we have specific masters events. So in the men's quad and the women's quad, we are going to have specific masters competitors. They are going to be competing within the open field, but there's actually separate rankings and separate medals going to be given out to the masters men's quad and women's quad, which is a great addition. And I think we had the conversation earlier that they'll probably start to bring it in the solo and the double events as well over the coming years.
Yeah, and it was fascinating talking. I was talking to the women that are racing here as Great Britain won in the club quadruples, and they said for them, I mean, they love to enter anyway, but, you know, they were in the Worlds last year in, was it Italy, wasn't it? And they said they had absolutely no chance. But here, when they saw there was a Masters category, and I think these women, you know, between mid-40s and mid-50s, they thought, wow, this is for us. And they were so motivated to enter the event, which is great to see. So they'll have that separate, well, if they get in the first three of the Masters, they'll have a separate medal ceremony.
Exactly. It makes it very exciting. Because have you ever been to the World Rowing, the Master, like the Flatwater Masters? It's a huge event.
Yeah, it's like mega event, isn't it? And
yeah.
there was so much love, I think, around the Masters this year in Banyoles, that venue for the 92 Olympics, where a lot of Masters rowers would sign up, I guess, because they love Masters, but also because they want to row on the Olympic course that's had the Games famously in 1992. So, yeah, many of these competitors will have tasted flat water in the Masters.
They certainly will, including Welsh of Germany 01. He raced last year at the World Rowing Masters. We also saw him at the Coastal Championships, the World Coastal Championships over the last few years. So we do have quite a few crossovers between flat water and coastal endurance. So yes, today is all about the club rowers. Tomorrow as well will be a mix between the club finals, A-finals, and the National Federation. So there's two kind of different endurance championships happening over the next few days, and then the weekend, Friday, Saturday, that will be when the beach sprints will be happening. But we actually have some crossover between the club rowers and the national rowers. Jessica Berra there of France, we see her at every coastal championship over the years. So she'll be representing her club in the endurance event, but also she'll be representing France in the National Federation event as well, in the endurance.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And, you know, just to let you know what's happening, we were due to start the first race about 14 minutes ago, and clearly you can see that that first race, the Coastal Men's Singles, is still around on the start. And my sense from being new to Coastal is that Coastal competitors are more than used to delays and hanging around and making sure everything is right. I mean, safety is obviously a big issue, but I mean, as you said with the course, there could be issues about one of the buoys on the course that became detached. The guys were out at 6 a.m. this morning as soon as it got light, trying to do the course. But I think probably that coastal rowers will stress less about delays than flat water rowers.
It's really interesting because there's so many things that you can get stressed about and be frustrated about in this sport. The delays, there's so many different things that can happen, but actually getting comfortable with the unexpected and the delays, that's a huge part of it, and not stressing yourself out, because the difference out there, there's 17 rowers waiting at the start line. Some of them will be stressing out, and that's going to affect their performance. Others are going to stay nice and relaxed and loose because they know that this is part of the sport.
Yeah, just to paint the scene, I don't know, to make you a little bit jealous. So Neve and I are kind of in this little tent thing that's open to this beautiful kind of goldeny sand. It's very soft, and there's about 40 meters of sand between us and the sea. I would say the waves breaking on the shore have got a little less than they were at about 8:15 this morning, when I kind of thought, oh my God, is anyone going to try and put a boat in that? But the sun is out, which it hasn't been, and you can see the sun sparkling on the water, which is kind of turquoisey green as you get sort of far out. And then in the distance, we can see the buoys where the athletes will row to the start line that delineates the start line. And you can see there's an interesting shot, Neve.
That is, yes. So there's training happening right now for the beach sprints that will be taking place on Friday and Saturday. So what we're seeing here is the boat handlers. We are seeing the rowers here.
It's about as difficult as it gets, isn't it? Because otherwise they wouldn't be racing. But I mean, is this about the hardest level of waves to launch a boat? Or
no.
Have you seen bigger waves than this?
Yeah, absolutely. Last year in Genoa, there was humongous curling breakers. But that's, again, part of the sport. And if you can't handle those conditions, you have to make a decision. Should I be here or not?
It's interesting, David, I can't remember his surname. Hussey, but he said, each crew captain must make a decision whether they can row with the conditions or boat. And, if like they've just been training on flat water and they're not used to it, maybe the crew captain needs to decide it's kind of unsafe.
Absolutely. And you do have a lot of countries that are landlocked and don't have the sea conditions to train in. So they've been training, on their usual flat waters, and then they come here and they're, particularly they'll probably arrive early and expecting to train and get used to the launching and the exits as well, which we haven't even spoken about yet. And then they didn't even get that chance over the last few days to try it out. So it is, like we were talking to the Finnish beach sprint team earlier, and one of their junior rowers, she was hoping to get out training because she hadn't been used to the launching part.
Yeah, that's
which is a huge part of the race.
When you say the Finnish team, you don't mean the team that supervises the finish, you mean the team that comes from Finland, I guess.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes. Yeah, and we spoke with the great legend that is Joel Nakarainen, who looked absolutely ripped. I think he was just in his kind of undies, and he didn't have anything else. Like, he didn't have a top on, and that was really quite interesting, I think.
It was. Now, we haven't spoken about the finish, the actual exit of the race. So
this is not to do with Finland now.
No, this time it is not.
Yeah.
We'll come back to them later.
The end of the race.
The end of the race. I'm going to have to start changing my terminology. Yeah. So it is a water start, as we've spoken about. You can see the boats ready to go. But the exit of, or the finish of the end of the race is going to be a beach finish. So boats are going to make their way onto the beach. And if you're in a solo boat, you have to get out of your boat and run up and get through the finish line here. If it's a quad, it's going to be the bow person jumps out and runs up. If it's a double, usually again the bow person. So that's going to be an exciting element of this racing here.
Yeah, so if it's the single, like each of these singles is going to have like at least two, and I can't imagine two might be enough, but at least two boat handlers. They're not just going to leave their single and let the waves smash it. There are boat handlers that are going to look after their single. So it's an exit like the beach sprints almost.
Exactly. Now, the boat handlers can't literally be there when the boat hits the sand, and because the rower has to have enough space to jump out. But as soon as the rower has left the boat handlers will come in, get their hands on the boat and take it away. So still just a little bit of a delay here. We still don't have the starting balls up in the air yet. Rowers are still, as you can see on the screen, just hanging out there on the water, Not too hot right now, thankfully, and there is that little bit of a breeze out there, which is going to be keeping them cool. But you know, it is a long wait. We're up at 20 minutes now past the starting time.
So, yeah, it's quite interesting because I can see 111 there in the green boat. So we've just got the numbers that they row in, who is Marcus Salas Cordoba, sort of the green and yellow boat. And I'm sort of thinking that these athletes will be sort of in the sense, there was a big long delay. I don't know if you saw it at the Flatwater, or the Classic Rome, we call it now, the World Championships in Shanghai, which was an amazing event. But the lane change that the Fairness Committee made didn't work, and there was a big delay. And of course, well, it's not the same temperature here. What is it, about 23, 24? And there it was up in 31, 32, but it was like 85% humidity. And there was a point at which you thought these athletes have been on the water kind of for long enough, and they need to make a call about what's going to happen. So I'm guessing that these athletes have got, you know, at least another 15, 20 minutes to go before... Because basically they have to race today, don't they?
They kind of do, yeah. Well, look, it has happened before where they have to push other things to, push things to another day. But like, I think conditions are okay enough out there that things will go ahead. Again, not entirely sure what the exact delay is. I know they were concerned about a swell that was quite, it was pretty close to the first turning buoy, which is about 1 kilometre away from the starting line. There was quite a bit of a swell out there earlier based on the storms that had come in over the last few days. But like, looking from our eye level here, things seem pretty calm out there, pretty flat. So I'm not sure if it's to do with the conditions.
No, that's interesting. So we have our resident expert here, who's Niamh Hayes, who's competed in the World Coastals and knows all about the sea and what it's like. And there are athletes here in the club events that we'll be seeing later, all the way from the USA. And I think what people are going to wonder, Niamh, is why are athletes from the USA competing in the European Coastals? Is that like Australia in the Eurovision Song Contest?
That's exactly what it's like. So I think they made an exception this year because obviously usually there is a World Rowing Coastal Championship event every year, but this year there wasn't going to be. So because there's no world event for the endurance, they decided to open up entries to non-European countries. So we do have a few USA entries that we're going to see later on. Oh, Martin's pointing. We see the starting balls go up.
The start's going to be in 2 minutes. Excitement everywhere because there are 2 balls. There were 3. I didn't notice them. But now, what does that mean, Niamh?
So there's 2 minutes left to the start line. And they drop one every minute.
So if those guys need glasses, I mean, they need their glasses to see those balls, because I'm thinking, or binoculars, like, how are they going to see them from... I'm saying that's more than 100 metres. I'm saying that's like 300 metres or 250 metres away. Look at that. They're all lined up.
Yeah, they're all lined up, and you can see some of them are still kind of angled sideways, trying to take up as much space as they can so that when they do straighten up, that they will have clear water either side of their blades. Because what you'll see, maybe not in this one. Okay, so you have 1 minute to go.
Well, what's this sculler? He's gone, and it's like not the start. So he probably needed to have his binoculars out, because we can see one red buoy. There will be a hooter that the athletes can hear.
So what you will see is some rowers will line up right on the start line so that they can literally just go and cross the start line first. More will hang back and actually be up nearly towards full speed by the time they are crossing it, but you need to time it.
So this lad, you can see at the top of your screen, he's like got an advantage over everyone because he's just sat there closest to the start line.
But the rest will be at a greater speed by the time they get up to the start line.
This is interesting.
Yeah. So
in the green boat, that's number 139. That's Kuzey Korsal from Turkiye. And he's just 16. So he's an easy one to spot because the 16-year-old's in the green boat, Niamh. And here we go.
So as you can see, some of them are already nearly at full speed as they go past the finish line. There's some, if you look at the pink, yellow and green boats there, they're quite close to each other now. So yeah, here they go.
So we will get a look. We can tell you when we see the numbers, the big numbers on the bows, we can tell you who's, but the 16-year-old lad from Turkiye is dropping back a little bit, as is the early starter on that far side. So at the top of your screen, you see the race leader. And what we need is our drone to fly across and see who that is leading the race.
I think he heard you.
Well, here is, now I guess this is the shot from the boat.
This is a drone. He's going to fly over them, it looks like. Again, very hard to tell from our angles who everyone is right now.
So talk to me about rowing in this swell. We can see there's a swell, and they're kind of rowing out into the primary swell. There is a secondary swell, which the rowers will be able to feel, but it looks like this is, you know, this is kind of like okay for coastal rowing, those conditions.
Absolutely. So we're seeing actually on our screen, this is Ireland 01 John Barry from Kilmaximon. It's a club close enough to my own club in West Cork. So he raced last year at the Worlds in a quad, and he's in a solo here now. Looking like he's having an incredible race so far. As I said earlier, it's kind of two races happen within the run race. You really need to go for it right out that first 1 kilometer. You don't really want to get held back at that point. You want to get out, and you can see the amount of space he has around him. So he's taking that bit of a, you know, wider route to the first starting point, but he has so much space.
So I want to say he's kind of in like 4th place at the moment, the Irish sculler, in that red boat on this near side.
Yes, and because he's on the outside line to the buoy, you're looking at less potential for a collision at the turn.
So when these guys are close together, do you feel like comfortable that you've got scullers, you know, in your neighbourhood? You think, well, they must be right on navigation, so I must be right. I mean, is that a comforting feeling, or do you just want to see distance?
You want to see distance because you never know who is going right and who's going wrong. You can't trust another sculler to be going right. One of the key rules in this sport is that the leading boat has right of way. So if you are faster than the boat in front of you or behind you because you're looking over your shoulder, you have to go around them. Now they cannot block you. They have to stay on course. But technically that leading boat has right of way, and you have to maneuver in and out if you're trying to get past them.
So what we need is our drone to fly closer to that lead boat, and so we can see the number on there.
There's 127.
So the lead boat is
our Spanish.
It's Patricio Rojas Antar, who is 34 years of age, and he's kind of in a pinkish boat. He's looking round to see the boy, but I do remember, like, I think he was like stroke of the 4 back in the day, the Spanish lightweight 4, and they were great in terms of they were sort of top B final, first bit of A final.
Yeah, look at the style of his rowing now. Big lie back here. This will be quite common from the Spanish rowers. A lot of them are used to those big, massive coastal boats. There's about 20 rowers in them, and they depend on that lie back. But that's really important because they have the wind with them here now. The wind is pushing them towards that first turning point, and so he's making use of that with that big lie back.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So he's from Sevilla. And I know in the north of Spain, in the Basque Country, they have the treneros, those big boats, and they have a massive coastal league. I mean, how many treneros rowers compete at the Europeans or the Worlds?
We do have quite a few. There is quite a famous one, Adrian Miramon Kyoga. We'll see him at the beach sprints now this weekend. He's not in the endurance, but he would be known for that traditional style coastal rowing. But yeah, this is very impressive. Probably not surprising here that Rojas is in the lead here. Gold medal from last year's World Coastal Championships in the mixed. You can see doing a lot of looking over his shoulder now. He's coming up towards that first turning point, so making sure he's staying the right side of it, but look how close he's staying to it,
right, so
clipping it.
I know some of them, like Chris Back was basically saying he likes to pull his oar in.
Yeah. And
so Rojas Anzar wasn't bothered about, like, he didn't mind, you know, because I suppose Back has got more jeopardy if he catches a crab, but Rojas Anzar there is like, this is an endurance event, you know, it doesn't really matter. I'm out in front anyway.
Absolutely. This is actually surprising how much gap there is between each boat. It's a very clean turning point for the first turning point. Usually it's a lot more, we'll see it in the finals, where there's a lot of bunching up.
So how much, what's the distance between this buoy here at the quay, just over 1,000 meters? I guess they got something like 600, 700, 800 meters to go to the next buoy?
Exactly. So there's 750. So there's actually going to be one coming up. We'll see it shortly. This is the 1,000 meter. There's now 100 meters to go. So you're seeing the marker at the 1,100 meters. So there's two markers here, and then they're going to have 750 to go to turning point 3, and they're all left-hand turns for these first few turning markers. So yes, we are seeing in first place there at the moment Rojas leading this one out in his pink boat. Then after him, I think it was Marcos Salas Cordoba.
Yeah, the 25-year-old from Alicante.
Yeah.
Which is where they have a massive training centre, is that right?
Yes, they do. There is a lot of coastal clubs in that area. It's very strong, a lot of beaches. He's a medalist from the last 2 European Rowing Coastal Championships. Last year, he was a bronze in the men's quad. The year before, silver in the men's double. So chancing his arm at the men's solo now. But look at the gap that's starting to open up here. See here on the right-hand side of your screen, the finish. He's really taking his time at the finish with that big lie back, and there's nearly a pause before he goes into his recovery.
Yeah, and I guess how much longer do we take that? So there we see the boy there. So 3 Spanish scullers. So number 3 from Malaga, Marin Adolfo Ferre. He is in 3rd place, the 44-year-old. Why are the 3 Spaniards so far out in front?
The Spaniards spend a lot of time getting good at endurance racing. Like, the Spanish have been one of the strongest national teams. Obviously, this is club rowing, but Spain in general have been incredibly strong. You know, they have a lot of, as we've been talking about, you know, traditional coastal rowing. A lot of them are coming from that, and they're now specialising in either endurance or beach sprints.
So the lad from Runcorn, if you look down, who is Chris Barton, who had that terrible Achilles tendon injury, I think getting out of a boat, we were talking to him yesterday. Yes. He's like, I'm just pleased to be here because I can't really push off my toe, but I can push off my heel. He is in the last qualifying position at the moment, Chris Barton. So we haven't got a look at him. If you want to, you know, kind of look out and use your observation skills, he is in boat number 112, if you get a look at that. But at the moment, it's 3 Spaniards out in front. Patricia Rojas Anzar is in the 1st place. Marcos Salas Cordoba is in 2nd. And then it is Adolfo Ferrer Marin from Malaga, actually. So they are leading the first 3 places, and at some point they're going to want to conserve their energy, I'm guessing, because this is a heat, so the first 9 will qualify. So, I mean, it looks quite leisurely out there, doesn't it, from a distance?
Right now it is very leisurely, particularly if you're in this leading position. Now, based on conditions, so we're going across, so they're pretty parallel to the shoreline right now. So there's a little bit of a side wind going to be at them and that little bit of a swell. So it's different conditions compared to that first leg. And are really important in this style of rowing as they come up to turning point 3 is at that catch, that there's just that slight pause where you feel, is the water, are the blades in the water or not? Because one could be in and one could be out, particularly when you're on that sideways leg. So you have to make sure that both blades are covered. So there's just that slight relaxed pause and gentle catch. And then they go into that big, big drive. But now they're turning now, and they're going to be heading back somewhat towards the shoreline at this turning point 3.
Yeah. So I think that's the furthest point of the course. And competitors giving each other plenty of room around that turning buoy. Seeing the two athletes there, not particularly close to it. I guess there's less jeopardy in terms of being close to buoys in a heat like this. Where you kind of can count. I mean, I wonder if these guys can count. Like, I wonder if Chris Barton, who we said was in 9th position, I wonder if he can actually count and say, like, how many are ahead? Is there 8 ahead of me? Am I in 9th? Do they know that?
You're probably better off counting who's behind you
Oh,
or in
God.
front of your view line.
I couldn't
try and
do
count
that. I
them.
couldn't get numbers in my head and row at the same time. That's like, no, it's not for me.
At least you're not looking over your shoulder trying to count every time.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So you can see one of the athletes there is going really very close to that turning buoy. He's
Probably
absolutely
trying
on
to
the
avoid
right
a collision.
side. Yeah.
At this point. Yeah, it's been a very clean race so far, which is surprising in
So
coastal
here,
rowing.
this athlete has obviously messed up, the one that's coming up to the buoy now, he's kind of messed up his navigation and he's got
Slightly.
to go the right side and now he's got a turn, like it's almost like a beach sprint type of turn.
Yeah,
And that'll slow them down.
absolutely. He probably, between turning point 2 and 3, he probably wasn't allowing enough for the swell that was, or the waves that were pushing him in a little bit. So he probably just wasn't angled out far enough.
It was interesting talking to Joel Nakarainen, and it was like, well, you know, can you use GPS? And he said, yeah, you can. There's no issue with that. But he said the eyes are always better. And I'm thinking, you know, if you were on a yacht or something in sea, you'd put the marker in and the yacht, the GPS would do the job of how far your boat was drifted off a line that you wanted to take. But, yeah, so I think that would be Rojas Anzal. Looks like his finishes, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's our race leader, I am guessing, who is in that kind of pink boat. We can't see the number on the bows of the boat, but he does look to be sculling like Rojas Anzal.
He certainly does, and I think the colour of the boat gives them away as well. So here they're coming towards the back in towards the shoreline, so they're going to be slightly up against the wind here. It's nothing heavy, but slightly up against it here now.
I'm just wondering, because they haven't been able to train, you know, full on, they've just been on rowing machines for the last few days. Is this like a training session? So the Spanish coach will say to Patricio out there in front, you know, just give it some beans, mate, in Spanish. I wish I could say that in Spanish, but, you know, this is a useful training session. So we'll try and spot your boat numbers there as they come round this buoy and see whether the Spanish are in second place.
103, yes.
So that is Adolfo Ferrer-Marin in second place, so 105.
That's John Barry of Ireland.
John Barry's right up there.
So he's in third. So I'm not sure, our graphics were slightly wrong a while ago, I think.
So, yeah, 132 is Elf Subasai from Turkiye.
And we had Samuel Debusac of France won, another regular beach sprinter.
Yeah, and Salas Cordoba has moved back. So I think he's still in qualifying position, the Spanish.
Look at the finish. I'm really intrigued by his finish here.
Yeah,
There's a real pause.
He's loving that. There's a lovely pause, actually. Very controversial, I think, in terms of coaching. So Spain from Sevilla. As you heard Niamh say, that world champion in the mixed doubles. Always great to get a world rowing gold medal.
Absolutely, and I think it was with his girlfriend, who's racing a solo as well this week.
Yeah, it's kind of very incestuous rowing, isn't it? You know, male and female rowers. So going round there is number 128.
Haskan.
So
Turkiye 07.
That's Ruzgar Haskan, who is a 15-year-old. Talk about a 16-year-old. He's just 15. I don't know. I've lost count. So unlike our athletes here, I haven't counted how many athletes around this buoy. So that is boat number 102, 103. So
I think they're boats 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 that we're seeing here, maybe.
So Johannes Welsh from Hamburg. So he's out of qualifying.
Yeah. At the moment, they're looking like they're going to the B final. We're seeing Ferrer of Spain 03 here. Unsure if he's still within that top 9 spot.
Yeah. He's a little bit funny on his left wrist. It's kind of goes, he kind of cocks it over a little bit and then it flattens for the drive phase. It's just an interesting little bit of technique. Obviously, it's massively more complicated by the fact you're rowing in a big swell.
Yes.
So the swell's coming into what I want to say their stroke side or their port side, and it's kind of pushing them towards, well, as we look at it, towards the right of the screen.
Yes, exactly. Now this leg again, it's another 1 kilometre leg from that turning point that we were just viewing to the next, the chicane area. So it's another big long leg here. I think at this point it's just about kind of, if you're in that top 9, just staying where you are, staying nice and comfortable.
So it's interesting, the guy in the green boat there, I mean, he's just completely changed his course.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated as to why he would do that as our drone flies over these competitors
So I think
to the front of the race.
I think he was probably following the guy in front of him all along, and then when he looked around and properly, maybe the turning boy came into his view, he realised, oh, maybe I should stay out a little bit, and so he corrected his course.
So is that right? There's a little bit of a chicane coming up for these athletes.
Yes, and this is where things can get interesting. There's probably enough space right now in this heat that we're not going to see too much carnage happening, but yes, we're going to see 3 turning points coming up pretty close together. There's only 100 metres between each of the turning points, but it does tend to make the last bit of that race just before they come to the beach and into that final run a little bit interesting.
Yeah, well, that's Rojas Anzar, I'm guessing, with that finish in that pink bow, and that's the distance between first and second, who will be likely be our competitors in the medal race.
Yes, Spain 03, 4th last year at the European Championships. Ferrer there. He is currently sitting in 2nd place. But a huge distance between them right now. Really, really big distance. 3rd position then we think is still John Barry. Raced in the men's quad last year at the World Rowing Coastal Championships. They were 2nd in the B final. He also raced at the European Championships the last 2 years. He was in the men's double.
Anzar nicely round that buoy. It wasn't the most dramatic of turns. Like, he's got that lead and he's pretty convinced he's going to qualify. So he just needs to be clean through the buoys.
And this is the first right-hand turning point now as well. So all the rest were on their left side. This is the first right side turning point. They'll come back to, the next one is going to be another left. Then they'll have one more right around this chicane.
Yeah, so we're looking out for those big bow numbers, and hopefully we can let you know.
So as you can see, some rowers are choosing to kind of row around with 2 blades. Some of them are starting to back on one side because these are probably, you know, the sharpest of the turns that we've seen so far. So a bit of backing is always useful here. So here we are again. This is the first of the 3 boats in the chicane. We can see now this is the 2nd one. Already Rojas going around that 2nd chicane, making his way to the last turning point. And then we're going to see the final beach sprint. So yes, here we have, and it was, yes, indeed, John Barry, Ireland won, representing Kamak Simon. He's currently in that 3rd position. We then have Subasi of Turkiye 12, looks like. He's moved into 4th position. But it's amazing. There's nearly a minute separating 1st and 4th right now.
Yeah, so Rojas, well, he looked like he'd accelerated there. And they're coming into our view. We can see them ahead. You know, they are level with the finish area. So Rojas is going parallel to us. Actually, no, he's coming in. That's not Rojas. Yes, it is Rojas.
Rojas here,
yeah,
perpendicular.
It is. He's coming in perpendicular to us. So he's going to ride and hopefully get a surf on some of the waves. He's looking very relaxed. I mean, technique is spot on from the 34-year-old.
Yeah, and he's in a great position to land on the beach, right pretty much in the center so that he has a straight run up. You know, if you're coming in a bunch, you don't get to choose where you go. You're just going to have to find an empty spot to land your boat.
Exactly it. So the first of our competitor...
oh, here he comes on the surf.
Yeah, beautiful. Looks round. Surf's a little less than it was earlier this morning. The umpires are gesturing for the boat handlers to come along onto the boats. There's no rush to get out like there is in beach sprints, but he's going to run up anyway to where we are. And we're going to give him an applause because basically...
Lovely finish there. He didn't have to panic, just kind of kept it very relaxed and cool. And even look at him, he's walking towards us now, very relaxed. Second now coming up towards us. I think it's Ferrer, Spain 03. Yes, boat 103.
So they're getting the boats out of the water very quickly.
Yes, this is Adolfo Ferrer.
So it's the 44-year-olds.
Lovely finish. We have John Barry now, Ireland 01, making his way to the shoreline. He is in that third position. Lovely position to be in coming out of the heats. As you can see, there's a little bit of chaos on the beach. Boats in the way of the runners.
Yeah, definitely. John Barry in third, safely qualified. He's 20, isn't he, John Barry? 22. And here is the French athlete there, Niamh, in fifth place, Sam Dubussac, 18 years of age. It is chaos here with boats coming straight off through the finish line.
It is chaos, and we have the first Turkish rower as well after crossing the line, Subasi. He's in that fifth position. Next up now, Salas of Spain.
Salas in boat 111. You're doing really well to spot these athletes here.
He is sixth.
Salas Cordoba in the blue outfit. And from Alicante, the 25-year-old is sixth. So we are waiting for 3 more competitors who will qualify direct for the A final. So this is where it gets even more exciting. There is one of the athletes here from Turkiye, and that's kayak. So he is Badir Kayak, the 35-year-old. He is 7th. And this is where we go, another Turkiye athlete who is collapsing now. And this is the final qualifier from another Turkiye athlete. So Tuscan, I think he was 8. If I've got that correct.
I think it was Haskan was 8.
Haskan was 8.
And we're trying to look at the names.
Igor Boroska's coming in 10th, totally soaking wet, and everybody's giving each other lots of love here at the finish line.
Yeah, that's one part of this sport that we always see is the camaraderie.
Yeah, and I think in 9th place, I want to say it's Kuzi Koskal, the 16-year-old, who has qualified in 9th place, but that's completely, totally unofficial, and I'm probably totally wrong.
No, I think you got it pretty spot on. We're lucky that we're here at the finish line. We can see all the names on the one pieces.
Yeah, well, that's the advantage of being in our commentary position. But it is carnage here. There are still boats coming in, and there was kind of a question mark as to whether the boat handlers would take the boats out of the water, and they were kind of running up through the finish line, and that was kind of like, oh, you can't do that because that's where the athletes have to finish. So there's a little bit of figuring out to do as to where the boats will go.
I think we always need to get the first race out of the way and all those little bits.
Can I just say, out of interest, there are 2 balls on the starting tower, and I wonder whether the first heat of women's coastals is about 2 minutes from the start.
Yes,
Niamh.
I think they're going to start at 11:20 by the looks of it, just to probably try up make up a little bit of time, because it was meant to start at 11 a.m. local time. And obviously there was already an hour delay. So yes, it looks like the women's quad Heat 1 will be getting going. We had Andresen there, Croatia 02, just crossing that finish line as well. Raced for Germany at a European Championships a couple of years ago. Oh, and here's our friend Barton, Chris Barton.
Chris Barton on a sideways, which isn't great, is he? And he won't be able to get out. There's Chris Barton trying to jog with his broken Achilles tendon, which is sort of healing.
Yeah.
There's one boy left for the women's coastals. So the start for the women's coastals, of which there are some masters crews contending. Massive entry in this, loads of Turkish boats entered, as our drone still stays with the finishers, and they're heading to the B final, these guys.
Yeah, top 9 going to the A final. Everyone else gets to race later on today, so it's going to be a quick turnaround.
And is everybody back from the coastal men's singles? I think they are.
I think they are.
And we're waiting for the last buoy to drop at the start phase, which is just to the right of that finishing, I guess I want to call it blocks.
Yes, so in the women's quad, we have 21 entries in total, 2 heats. This one has 11 crews. The top 9 will be going to the A final, and they're actually off here now. Now, this is the race where we might see a little bit of carnage happening. Those bigger boats, they take up lots more space.
Yeah, but haven't they got a cox?
They
But
certainly
I guess there's only 2 boats in the boat race and there's carnage there, so maybe that won't make any difference that there's a cox in the bigger boat. So the event that's off now is the first heat of the Club Coastal Women's Quadruple Sculls. Quadruple Sculls, there are 4 rowers or scullers. They each have a blade in each hand. If you're new to this kind of sport and just watching for the first time. So it's not like sweep rowing. There's no sweep rowing in coastal. It's all sculling. So the athletes have 2 blades to deal with. And we are looking at scenes there just in front of us at the grandstand, and we're waiting for our drone to fly out to the Club Coastal Women's quads that we can see disappearing away. And I'm going to use my binoculars, and I can't see any numbers from this position on the beach, but they all look to be going fairly closely and steering a nice course out to that yellow buoy, the first yellow buoy.
Yeah, so we do have quite a few coastal rowers that are returning from the last few years' World and European Coastal Championships. Probably the boat to watch, Spain 01. I would say they have a few rowers in there. They were at the World Under 23 Championships this year. We have Olivia Del Castillo. She raced at the World Under 23s, 4th in the women's 4.
Yeah. So we're looking there at, this is the final finisher in the, I want to say in the men's coastal, which is kind of 04. So Mark Shemby from Malta, and he was born in 89, so that was kind of, where was 89? That was bled the World Championships. So I guess that's a while ago, and he loves the sport of coastal rowing, this lad here. He's a newbie to it, which is why he's coming in at the end of the field. And the Maltese is coming up onto the beach. I still don't know why we're not seeing these women in the Club Coastals, but I'm sure we will get a drone to fly out over their course. We can see them disappearing up to the first buoy.
We can indeed. I think we're actually seeing as well that 61-year-old competitor from Turkiye.
Oh, he's 05. Oh, so there's 2 of them.
There's 2 of them. Oh, and look, he's just timing it to come in with the waves.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to flip at this point in your race.
So caution is the watchword here.
Yes. So yes, those quads making their way out that first 1K leg. We have no idea who's coming where. '23s and the European Championships this year. We have Natalia Miguel Gomez in the bow seat. She was 10th in the women's.
This is very close and fruity, isn't it? I mean, so they're just coming round to those buoys. There's no danger of collision, is there, or is there?
I don't think right now. Oh, here we go. Ireland are in the lead. Ireland 03.
So what's happened to the Spain? What's happened to the Spanish?
That was just my money. I was putting my money on Spain.
Yeah, so
I wasn't entirely sure.
Sinead Murphy, Niamh Lorden, Siobhan Lorden. So I guess they are sisters.
They
I want
are
to say.
indeed, yes.
You know, the Miriam Sheehan, coxed by Pete Doyle, the oldest in the boat at 44 yard, and Sinead's just 18 in that leading boat.
Yeah, we have 2 clubs. We have Camac Simon, we have Castletown Bear in the rowers, and then Peter Doyle is from Wicklow. But we have some medalists from last year's event, so Niamh Lorden and Miriam Sheehan, they won a silver medal in this category last year. And then Siobhan Lorden, she raced in the women's quad last year, finishing 6th. So they're after combining here to create a very strong crew.
So what's happened to Spain?
I'm wondering,
Niamh.
are they behind them?
All right, okay.
Maybe. I'm trying to see the number.
We need to see the number on the boats because we know the number, but we need our friendly drone operators to get the drone a little bit closer to the crews so we can get a good shot of that big number on the bows. And that's going to tell us exactly which crew is which.
Yes. So the cox, of course, has a very important job in these racing. It's you want to avoid as much collisions as you can.
Ah, so it's the boat from the Netherlands. So that's Netherlands 01. No surprise, I guess, to see a Dutch crew out there in front. Caroline Boekstein, I'm going to massacre these names. Suzanne Hendrickson, Marine Ribbins, Sheila Bowman, and that's the crew, stroke Sheila Bowman, and Rianne Koeman in the cox's seat.
Yes.
So these women are aged between 55 and 49.
Yes, they're one of our Masters crews.
Now, who's this we're looking at? You can almost see the number reflected in the water. I think that's a beautiful shot we're getting from our drone.
Beautiful shot. Caroline there in the bow seat for Netherlands. I actually raced against her in the quad race at the Worlds.
Who won? Who won?
I'm actually not sure out of both of us who won.
Okay, so
in 2017, 18 and 19 I raced against her. Let's say I won.
So, so beautiful shot there of 411. That's Spain 1, actually, 411 that we're looking at there. That's the boat that you were saying was going to be in the lead. They do look beautifully synced in, actually, I have to say. So we're looking at the coxswain there, Sergio Lopez Gomez, 34-year-old. And this is quite a young boat. The oldest is Fernandez de Castillo, who's 55. And she is in the 2-seat, one on the left from the bow woman, Natalia Miguel Gomez, who's 30. And Olivia del Castillo there. She's just 22, and you heard Niamh talk about the under 23. And Amanda Gil Camacho in the stroke seat started rowing back in Sevilla when she was just 11. So she's been rowing for 9 years, and she's only 20.
Yeah, she has a gold medal from last year's World Coastal Championships, the mixed doubles. So she was partnered up with Rojas that we saw in the last race.
Yeah. So, crew 410 there, which we can see. That is the Irish crew, as far as I can see, who are coming round. So I don't think Ireland are in the lead from what I saw there. Crew 401 is Great Britain. And we were talking to them, and one of the women in Great Britain won. I want to say it's Sophie Bostock, the 44-year-old, is going to row across the Atlantic next year. And the women in the crew said Soph was the most competitive, and she said she wasn't. But if you're going to row across the Atlantic, I'm sorry, you're competitive. Jo Price, Rowena Atkins, Sophie, as we said, Liz Beswick, and Ricky Rule, the 66 years young Cox, and he's in the group called Performance Group in Jersey. Takes athletes from 18 and turn them into international level, which is kind of what he's doing with these guys, I guess, from the Coastal Rowing Academy.
Absolutely.
Oh, we got a nice shot of a buoy there, which is one of the turning boats. And it was nice to see that, and we could see those numbers on the bows, which is really great, because then we can identify the crews. And there may be an issue, I guess, with the drone flying over them. Maybe one of the drones might have needed to come back for a bit of TLC. And we've got our camera fixed on the buoy, looking at those boats. And they've turned round now, Niamh. They're now heading back for the beach. And this is a 750 metre. Oh, and the drone is flying overhead, which is great.
Here we go. So, yeah, the last two boats that we're seeing here at the moment, they're looking like they're going to be in that B final.
What are they? What's that big red bag at the back of those boats?
So they're the life jackets.
Oh, right. So basically, you know, it's like a plane. If we're going to land on water, you find your life jackets behind the coxswain.
Absolutely,
okay,
yeah.
got that.
Yeah. Hopefully they won't go floating before that.
Yeah. I'm saying that, but of course this is, you know, absolutely so important that safety
Absolutely.
is the #1 priority
Yes.
for these athletes. Safety and safeguarding, of course.
Yeah, so the cox has to wear one, and then the rowers, their ones are behind the cox.
So we think that 9 of these boats will qualify for the A final. I hope I've got that right, Neve.
You do.
So that means that it's just the last 2 who are going to be heading to the B final. So to me, that looks like the Spanish crew, I want to say, in the green tops that we're seeing there, around that buoy there.
Yeah, they're around turning point 4 now.
And that is a very quick turn there from that boat, and slightly too quick for me to see the number.
I think that was Ireland 03. It looked like 4:10 to me. Their cox there by Peter Doyle. He has a world medal from last year and a European medal for coxing.
4:01 is Britain now. 4:03.
Spain 02.
Spain 02. So they're the first 4 boats, and they were very nicely round that buoy. So he's got the rudder full on. So that's 4:02. And that is Germany 1. So Germany 1, you saw coming round the buoy there. So that's Francesca Korsling, Tessa Kuhn, Sarah Ann Kronman, Joanna Louise Kanvich, and cox by Jakob Mikalski, the youngster, just 20 years of age.
So here we have it, Ireland 03 in the lead here. Still
they're
holding
still
on to
in
the
the
lead.
lead.
Yeah, I think the drone shots are kind of putting us off a little bit, potentially.
So we never quite saw the Irish go around the buoy, is that right? And we saw the second place crew go around the buoy, so we just assumed they were in the lead, or
yeah,
I did.
we just caught the end of the Irish crew, I think.
Okay, all right. So
Spain 01 then in that second position, looks like.
beautiful sweep on the back end of the boat, this is. So is this the Irish we're looking at, do you reckon? The leading crew. I think the drone will have wanted to have flown with the leading crew.
That is certainly looking like the Irish crew. I know these girls, I've raced against the majority of them over the last few years, particularly Niamh and Miriam in the women's solo events across the world and in Ireland. We have a big layer off the screen that we're watching as well. It's hard to identify who is who.
Yeah,
But we're seeing a little bit of bouncing going on, so the bow's coming right out of the water here.
so 9 of these 11 crews will progress through to the A final. This is the first heat, and there'll be another 9 from the second heat. And it's interesting, with the drone going, sort of taking pictures into the sun, it's quite a challenge, isn't it, to see the numbers on the boats from the camera
It is, certainly.
as they head out.
Position in these boats, because sometimes they can be right up in the air and just pulling air as opposed to water, depending on how much of a swell there is. But also they have the important job of, they're going to be getting out of the boat soon and going for a little run up the beach.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's quite good. So it's always the bow person, I guess, because they're the closest.
Yeah, generally in these boats it will always be the bow person. It's a really interesting feeling, having rowed for about 20 minutes and then trying to get your legs to run instead of row.
What's it like?
It's like your legs are like jelly after 20 minutes of rowing, and then you try and run. Now, some people, they spend a lot of time on that. You have to practice all these elements to get good at it.
So is this an overtaking? Is this the Netherlands? I'm looking at their tops and thinking that might be the Netherlands crew there. I'm kind of just saying. So 4:11 there. That's Spain.
Spain 01. And I'm wondering, are they our leaders or are they our second place? They had been sitting in second place.
Well, that's what the graphics were saying.
But that may not be right.
But that may not be right. Every time I'm seeing the drone fly with this leaders, I'm thinking that Spain 01 are race leaders. And Ireland...
Yes, that looks like Ireland in second position.
So I hate to say, Neve, but I was right and the graphics were mistaken.
I think that is correct.
So the drone is going. You go and think the drone is going to look and say who's in the lead at the moment. So that was the first crew we saw around the boat.
Yes, and here we have Ireland 01. It was Peter Doyle and his backwards baseball cap that told me that was Ireland.
Oh, that's such good knowledge.
Yeah.
From Neve Hayes. Yeah.
Always wears it. But yeah, incredibly experienced crew. Miriam, she in there stroking. Such a great athlete, both in endurance and beach sprints. And the sisters, the Lord and Sisters of Kilmac-Simon there. And then we have Sinead Murphy as well from Castletownbere. So we're starting to go around the chicane now. This is the
where
first.
is Kilmac-Simon?
It's in West Cork.
Whereabouts?
It is just outside Cork City.
Oh, so it's down
Here
there.
in Shannon.
Okay, yeah. I got that.
And Castletownbere then is very West Cork, like right on the Kerry border.
Oh, wow.
If you know it.
So here we see number 401.
So that is Great Britain 01, the
Great
Masters
Britain.
crew you mentioned.
Yeah, and Sophie with the yellow hat on, that's going to row the Atlantic. Is that the Netherlands? Is that 402? No, that's the
Germans.
That's the Germans. So it's still saying Ireland 1, which is interesting, our graphics. So
I think that's slightly wrong, as you
yeah,
mentioned.
yeah, okay. So 402 going around there is, no, that's Germany, 402.
And we have 411 here. That is Spain 01. So yes, these are our leaders. They're coming in towards the second chicane, gone around that second turn. They're going to come into that final turning point. So that's Spain 01. We have Ireland 03, not too far behind them at this point.
Well, they're still racing pretty hard, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, there are 9 crews through here, ladies, and you can take it easy. So they're headed for the beach now, and we think that is the first Spanish crew. And we're very excited to see Natalia Miguel Gomez, the 30-year-old, leap out onto the beach when they surf in and run to where we are on the finish position. They've got about, they've got about like a minute to go for that run in, Niamh.
I would certainly think so, yeah. So with about probably 10 strokes to go, she'll start to get herself ready, pull her oars in, turn around. They all have different techniques, but generally they'll get out of the foot plates, nearly be kneeling in the boat, ready to jump as soon as that boat hits the sand. So yeah, definitely big sprint here. They're coming in trying to use those waves. They've upped the rate, in fact.
Why?
To surf them.
Oh, got it. Okay, I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
why they bother? They're leading by loads, but that's so cool to see them do that.
Yeah, make the most of it. So she's actually still rowing here, the bow rower. But here she comes. She's having a look. She's just stopped.
Here
And
she comes. They're
has a look.
sideways on, which isn't
Sideways
great.
on.
Yeah, and here comes Natalia Miguel Gomez, 30 years of age, running past us. Oh, what a finish from the Spanish crew. And the second crew, the Irish crew, are just beaching now.
Yeah.
And who is that running up?
Sinead Murphy.
So Sinead Murphy, great run from the 18-year-old. Well done, Sinead. That's me saying well done, by the way, if you wondered. I'm not sure she heard me. And so I'm thinking this might be the Netherlands or Germany.
So we're looking at 403, which is Spain 02.
Spain 02. So Spain 02 from Real Club Nautico Calpe, and it will be Rosa Turpasto.
Look at the quad coming in behind them. The bow person is she's kneeling with the last probably 20 strokes. She's been ready to go.
Oh, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
So who is that? What quad is that that's behind it?
That's the crew you were talking to earlier.
Oh, that's the British crew.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So a leap across. Joe Price safely qualifies. And a big leap across the line. You would do that.
And we have Germany.
So here are the German crew, and that was Francesca Kosling, 45 years young.
So there are top 5 crews now.
And I think we're a bit more ordered about taking boats out now.
I think a little bit of practice, and they have it down. So next crew coming in, and we can see here again the standing up. This is a long time to be standing up.
This is a very interesting tactic,
Yeah.
and 409 is the Netherlands first crew.
So 6th position here, coming up the boat.
And that's Caroline Bokstein. And there she is. Caroline Bokstein running to the finish, big smile on her face and arms out wide. She knows she will have qualified.
So they're the 2nd Masters crew to qualify.
And this is the 2nd Britain crew, and that is Bryony Jones.
Yes, a very popular name in coastal circles.
Yeah, she started rowing back in 2006 in Sandersfoot in Pembrokeshire, where the Worlds were held in, I think, 22, I want to say.
22, I remember it well. Capsized twice.
Oh my God.
During my heat.
That's crazy. And still won, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Still won.
So, very interesting to see that. And there are still boats out on the course racing. And of course, we're near the start for the next heat, which I think will be doubles.
Yes,
that we're going to see. So these coastal boats have all got trailers, so they kind of get the boats out of the water with the blades in, and they're on trailers that they push.
So you can see if we look out at the quads that are still coming in, they're veering way, way off course. They are looking at the beach and they are going, they think the finish line is somewhere completely different. And they're actually all following each other. So they're going to have a big correction to have to do, or else a big, big run. I think they're after spotting that they're going wrong, so they're coming back in. But it's not a good place to come in sideways. You want to be coming in straight when you're coming to the beach like this.
Yeah.
If you go sideways, there's a big chance of flipping.
It's interesting. There's so many people in the finish area.
Yeah.
You'd never have this in flat water rowing, but here in beach sprint, like everyone's like, okay, let's mix, let's get on with each other. And but I think there might be an issue in terms of, having a space for the athlete to sprint up.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't an easy exit point for these boats unless they take them to the left of us. But here comes in one of the crews. I guess these are still going to qualify, some of these women.
So we're seeing the quad just getting caught on a wave there and just being thrown sideways. We're actually, you couldn't see it on our screens, but coming in here now, Turkiye 01.
Yeah, so Buznur Bobur, the 28-year-old in the bow, is now running up. There she is.
8th position, so they are still going to get a nice qualifying spot in the A final.
She is suited up, that lady, absolutely. And
this is going to be our final qualifier for the A.
And there we have boats coming off the water all over the place.
So Turkiye.
That's Turkiye and
2.
Yeah, I guess that might be Turkiye 02 in our last qualifying position.
Yes. So that means Turkiye 04 and 07, who are still on the course, will be making their way to B final as long as they finish. So you can see even with the coxing, coxes are the ones who are going to be navigating and directing, that even when you do have the advantage of having a cox, you can also still go off course a little bit. So we're seeing those last few crews as they go around that last turning point. Maybe it can be quite disorientating when you turn around and look at the beach and look at all the people and all the boats. It can be hard to know where you're going. So we're seeing all those final quads heading a good bit away from actually the finishing area and adding on quite a bit of a distance to themselves.
Yeah, and we kind of have the German crew now, and they're sort of, they kind of want to drag their boat through our commentary position, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how practical that'll be. But you might see them come into shot now. There they are, and they've decided to go a different route, which is great. We are looking at the start, 1 minute to go for the start of the next heat, which is the Club Coastal Men's Doubles. And this is a very delicious heat, I think, or this competition is very delicious because this is the event the Americans are in, but they're not in this heat, are they?
They are not in this heat, but we do have a lot of heavy hitters in this one. Igor Boraska is in this. He is just like, how long ago did he come out of the solo boat?
Yeah, I want to say like 40 minutes.
Yeah,
or
back
even 30.
out again.
Yeah. So we've got the Club Coastal Men's Doubles are off, and we've got the split screen there, which is denoting there's still some women left to come in on the top left of the Club Coastal Women's Quads. But here we see the Club Coastal Men's Doubles. And we are taking a nice look at boat. I want to say that's kind of number 203 or 208. on this side.
Yes, it's quite hard to see at this point
Yeah, I've just
in the race.
called it like it looks like a 3, but I kind
Yeah.
of want to say it's an 8, but we don't have an 8 in this boat. So that's boat number 209, and that is the Swedish, Pete Berg and Chris Berg. Peter Berg, of course, who had all that trouble with his heart, is the arrhythmia, and had to have a couple of operations.
Incredible coastal rower.
Is he?
He has a lot of titles from over the years.
And over there on the far side, we are looking at the crew from Hollandia Row Club. So Sjoerd Schepper and Amos Keizer. That's a very familiar name to me, the 31-year-old Amos Keizer. Very good flat rower. The Dutch have got their kind of Olympic team here, and they're separating the Olympic team for coastal from the Olympic flat water or classic rowing team. And Amos Keizer, a successful flat water rower for the Netherlands. And they are in that boat on the far side, 202.
The other crew I think to watch out for is USA02. We have Justin Stevens, Malachi Anderson. Malachi is a name. He's won beach sprint medals over the years. Justin Stevens, he is a former lightweight rower. He was at the World Championships in 2022 in the lightweight men's pair, finishing 6th. So they're representing next level rowing.
Yeah, so we're looking there at Italy 1, Simone Martini, the great sculler, and Martino Goretti, also a fantastic athlete in his time, married to Sophie Sauer. 218 we're looking at there is the Italians, who are right there out of the field. 9 of these doubles will qualify for the next round, and there are 13 in the boat. So essentially you're going to progress to the A final if you don't come in the last 4. But they're really like trucking, because they want to use this to get open their lungs, get a bit of training in for the final. So, you know, there's no one doing anything less than flat out at the moment, Niamh.
Absolutely, that first leg, it's so important. When it comes to a final, that first leg is crucial to get to those turning points as soon as you can to get there in the lead. But this is a great opportunity to see where they are in comparison to the rest of the crews. This is Netherlands 01 leading this one out nicely. Looks like they've taken down their sprint a little bit.
It is. And
settling.
It's interesting, you know, the sort of muscle the Netherlands have brought in terms of coaching. There's Bjorn van der Ende, who rode bow in the Dutch 8 in the Tokyo Olympics, the former lightweight. I think he was a lightweight in Rio. He's here running with the coaching team. I don't know if Roddy Florijn is part of the national coaching team, but the double Dutch Olympic champion, one of the parents of Caroline and Finn, of course, both Olympic champions, he's here as well, coaching. So the Dutch are doing on coastals what they're doing so well in classic rowing.
Yeah, things are starting to get close here now. We had 218, that is Italy 01.
Is that Goretti?
Yes, it is.
That's Goretti, Simone Martini, the 36 and 40-year-old.
And we had Germany 01 there as well. They were 7th at the Worlds last year.
Just saw 217 going through the picture, which is the from Fenerbahce Sport, Giray Yazkaya and Alper Eren, both 20-year-olds. The Turkish athletes in a lot of events, they're either very, very young, like from 15 to, I want to say 20, or they're like really veteran, like 60.
Yeah, a lot of the rowers that are representing Turkey, they're brand new to the sport. A lot of them actually in the women's quad, they only started this year or last year. So I think it's becoming more popular here, the coastal rowing, and so the younger athletes are coming into it, and we're seeing, you know, when it's on home waters, they're going to take advantage and get out there and race.
I want to say this race seems a lot more competitive than even the coastal men's singles, or let's say club coastal men's singles, or club coastal women's quads.
The men's double is one category that is always super competitive.
So who's that in third? Can we spot who that is third? And I'm just wondering, they're going, you can see they're going out from us, so they're going away from the finish.
215, we have Spain 03. So we have Carlos Gonzalez in the stroke seat. He was first in 2019. The Worlds were on in Hong Kong that year.
Yeah.
He was first in the men's double. Fernandez in the bow seat. He was at the World Under-23s back in 2012.
So we've basically got the Netherlands, Italy and Spain are our first three athletes.
Yes.
So they kind of look like Dutch scullers, you know, not too much going on to upset the boat. Amos Kaiser in the stroke seat, the older of the two athletes, and Sjoerd Schepper. I don't know that name. I will do, though, because they're going to be going for a medal in this event. But Sjoerd has rowed in coastal events before, but I don't see him having competed for the Dutch team.
I have a note here that he was at the World Under-19s back in 2019.
I love that note.
Men's double.
Yeah, so 215, as you can see, is the crew from Sevilla, Fernandez and Gonzalez. And 218 is the Italians. So the Spanish are now in second place, and that's an interesting move they've made. They seem to be quite close together, those two.
They are. Spain are really trying to put on a push, though. You can see starting to they've upped their rate and trying to just create a little bit of space. You don't want to be on top of each other. You know, there's so much open water. It's not ideal to be on top of each other like that.
Yeah, so they are really going for it, aren't they? The Spanish team, both from Sevilla. Fernandez Lopez is 33 and his stroke man, Carlos Gonzalez, is 26. And it was a very, very aggressive move I thought they made. These lads were in the men's quads that got a medal at the Worlds last year. So they have pedigree.
We're also seeing Germany 01, 7th at the World Coastals last year. I think they're currently sitting in 5th position.
Yeah.
And then 209, Sweden 01, so the Bergs, Peter and Christopher. They look to be in 4th position.
Yeah, so Christian Veneman had a very serious bike accident in June with a severe shoulder injury. And he reckons it cost him 3 medals at the German Championships. But he's happy that he's recovered in time to be here. That's the German bowman, Germany 01. And if you want to look out for them, they are boat number 204. In fact, that's them just going around the red buoy. So the lad who's had the injury is in the bow of that boat. And Moritz Schneider is in the stroke seat, the 6'3". I guess you want to know that in centimetres. And so I kind of want to say that's 1.91 meters. So there we are riding with the Germans, sorry.
We are riding with the Germans here, currently in that 5th position, I would say. So they're looking pretty safe at this point in the race. They're gone around that turning point 3, so they're on a 650 leg now before the next turn and the next long leg.
Ooh.
Oh, things have gotten close here. I wonder, is this up the top of the field? Probably not.
I want to say it's at the top because they're both going for it.
Do you think it's Italy and Netherlands?
Yeah, well, no, Spain and Netherlands. I want to say Italy's behind them, that boat behind. And I want to say the Netherlands are being overtaken by the Spanish, but I have no idea because I can't see the numbers. But it's exciting to speculate, isn't it? And we're going to see. So is that the two Spanish, Fernandez, Lopez and Gonzalez, going through the Netherlands, who had that nice, easy rhythm? It didn't look like they wanted to go that hard. There's one of the boats on the left of the screen there that's made a massive course correction. Yeah,
there's a lot of kind of weaving in and out here. We're seeing the bows pointed in very different directions from all these boats, but it is certainly exciting and a beautiful visual to be looking down on them like this. So here we're seeing 202, Netherlands 01, so no, that was not the lead, because this is the leading boat. It seems that Netherlands are still very much comfortable.
Oh, so they're the leading boat, right.
Yeah.
So who was that we were looking at? That's very interesting.
That's what we want to know.
Yeah, okay. Look over his, so the action was there. Look over his shoulder from Sjoerd Schepper, who is obviously doing the navigating. Oh, well, Amos Kaiser wants to have a look there. And they've got their life jackets in that red bag behind them.
So what's interesting to me as a coastal rower is I look at these, like their technique and the finish in particular compared to the Spanish that we saw in the men's solo, the massive lie back.
Why are they going around that buoy? Is that
So they're
the
going
chicane?
around.
Oh, so that's the side they should have gone round. I just thought maybe they went round the wrong side.
No, they're okay. That's turning point 4.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so here we see our next crew, and I want to say that is the Spanish.
Spain, yes, exactly.
So that was the race between Spain and crew number 2.
Oh no, it was Italy 01, followed by Spain.
So hang on, have Italy just re-overtaken Spain? That's crazy.
And Sweden 01.
209 is the Bergs there, Pete and Chris Berg going round.
We have 204, Germany 01.
Yeah, so Germany 01, they're in the qualifying positions. I think that was 217, if I get that right, for the Fenerbahce Sport, the Turkiye through...
and Turkiye 01 here.
Turkiye 1 going round, so they are all still in qualifying position.
We have 213. That is USA 02, I mentioned them.
Yeah, so you thought they'd be more competitive, and I wonder why they're not, in the sense they're probably going to qualify, but maybe at the back of the field.
I have a feeling we're going to see them at the Beach Sprint Worlds in 3 weeks' time. And because they're kind of specializing in that now, I think the endurance is a way to get used to the water, used to the conditions. You know, they come over here for training camps.
Yeah.
So I feel like these athletes are now kind of specializing in the sprint more than the endurance.
To be fair, so this is Netherlands 01 going parallel with the beach. I can look out from our position at the commentary. I can't quite see them in our view yet. I reckon they're probably going to be around, what do you reckon, 15 minutes total for this race, maybe?
That would be an incredibly quick time if they
would it?
do.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say 17 minutes.
We'll say 17.
Okay.
Well, we're on 12.
So this is Italy. Is this Italy and Spain? This is like a race, isn't it? These two guys are really going for each other.
215. That's Spain 03.
Yeah.
They're currently in that middle position, we'll say. We're getting a close-up of them now.
Fernandez, Lopez and Garcia. And is this Italy? Oh, here.
Italy and Spain.
So,
and this is Sweden, the Bergs.
So this is a race. This is like, they really care who comes. Like, this is for little crab from the Spanish boat, I want to say.
Yeah, this is the problem when you're trying to race here like this. You know, it's things can get a little messy.
Yeah, but that's fun. Like this is
fun.
This is why you do the sport, because it's like, you know, high octane excitement at this level. So who's going to win out of this? The veteran Italians or the younger Spanish crew?
I was going to ask you a question about this and say, like, they're clearly second and third position. They're pretty set to get an A final spot. So there's a balance between, do you conserve energy for the A final tomorrow, or do you want to get the psychological advantage of beating?
Oh, well, basically you want to race. You're in this sport to race. Like, who knows what's going to happen?
They're coming very close.
They're coming together. So essentially, you're in a race. Like, I don't want to let they've been overtaken. They've got to give way. So was that Goretti in the Italian boat? No, Simon Martini decided discretion was the better. But these two guys have been going toe-to-toe down the course. I mean, we ought to just have a drone flying over those two, because it'd be brilliant.
But this is what you do not want to end up in a collision at this point in the race. If the two of them get tangled, they could be stopped for 10, 20 seconds, which isn't ideal.
So we're going parallel to the beach. You can see that yellow buoy that Team Netherlands are headed for. And Scheppert and Kaiser have had that very easy, lopey rhythm. The Spanish have got ahead of the Italians and are still going for it. They want to put distance. Do you think the Italians have thought, well, is that the Swedish crew there
it is.
that are in fourth place? So the Swedes could beat the Italians. So maybe the Italians are thinking, right, we've lost that race, so maybe we just got to head the Swedes. Or maybe we're just going to qualify for the A final, and that's good enough.
Now, let's see, though, who uses... Obviously, we're a little bit off the finish line yet, but we'll see which of these crews use the surf to their advantage. Because even though there's distance being opened up in this sport, and particularly when there's waves and swell, if you learn how to surf them right, you can just bypass another crew very, very quickly.
So I'd say that's a 90-degree turn in 2 strokes.
Yeah.
I reckon if you're beach sprinting, you could do a 90-degree turn in 1 stroke.
Yeah,
I just want to say that's probably... So we can see them heading for us, heading for our commentary position. They're coming into the beach now. And another look round by Shepper there in the bows of Netherlands 01. They're sprinting for it, aren't they? I mean, they've just been long and lopey and easy, and now they're going for the last run into the beach.
I think they're trying to use the run here. Starting to lengthen out a little bit here because they're going crossways now towards the final turning point. So they're lengthening it again, but we'll probably see as they turn in towards the shore now, they'll start to up it again. So yeah, we're seeing the graphic there. Netherlands just going around.
Well, they need to
Second
go
last.
around this one, second last, yeah. So I was looking at it and saying that was the last turning point, and actually it wasn't. But they were running into the beach, but they now have to do this chicane thing. There's the Spanish who have basically said bye-bye to the Italians. They're not going to catch the crew from the Netherlands, I don't think, who have bossed this race.
They might be trying to see how close they can get, because obviously this Dutch crew is going to be one to watch in the final tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen, like, total 100% from that Dutch crew.
No, absolutely not. Now you can see the size of the swell here because the boat has disappeared from our screen.
Yeah,
well, someone's standing in front of the camera, but there is quite a nice swell there.
Yeah, lovely swell actually. And there's one crew going round hitting the buoys. So I kind of want to say they struggled a bit in that swell, didn't they?
Slightly. You know, if you're coming from flat water and haven't had a huge amount of practice in the swell, you are going to...
Yeah.
You're going to struggle because it's not clean racing or clean rowing, not clean blade work.
Because let's face it, I mean, how often do you want to run train on the North Sea?
Yeah.
So the Dutch have probably got to do their warm weather training. They're about 100 metres from the beach, the leading Dutch crew. They're both looking round, and I wonder whether Amos Kaiser trusts Sjoerd Schepper, the youngster. He's only 24. But I guess you've got to trust your bowman. Or
you
maybe
kind of do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless there was a tactic, you know, that they both said they'd look around.
So Shepard's going to jump out the boat.
Yeah.
And he's going to run up to our commentary position where the finish line is. And nice and easy. I've seen quicker exits than that, but pretty decent.
Pretty decent.
He's running like he's in a beach sprint.
He's really going for it. They're probably...
Whoa, that was like...
They're testing out their racing ability.
So, Sjoerd Schepper from Netherlands 1 crosses the finish line. And I want to say, oh, who's this? Is this Sweden coming in?
This is Sweden.
That's crazy. How can
Italy.
they have done that?
Oh, we have Spain here.
So Spain are the boat nearest to us. And you're not seeing these pictures. So that is Spain. The crew from Sevilla finishes second.
And then we have the Italians and the Swedish.
Yeah, so he's taking a look over his shoulder, the Italian Simone, and they are 3.
Oh, they're all finishing way down past the finish line now and having a big, big run here. Peter Berg.
That's Peter Berg through. They are 4. And
I think they may be getting caught off guard by the beach sprint training boys out there.
And here is the German boat who is through in 5th from Osnabrücker. That was Chris Venman who was running through there. We can't see where the boats are finishing. They have been blown off course. Or
they are going sideways.
Now, who's this running up to us? It's the Turkiye. I want to say that is the Fenerbahce club. That's Jire Yazakia, and they are in 6th place. So we've got our first 6, just 3 to go, and they're all running around the corner.
USA here. We've Justin Stevens.
So USA have qualified in 7th place. Justin Stevens run up for the beach. Hey, Marika. Hey.
Martin saying hello to people passing by.
Yeah, with the little baby, so that's so cool.
So we have 221 now coming in. That is Turkiye 09. And again, they are just nowhere near our finish line here. They are just going way down the beach.
They need a navigator, obviously.
I feel like they're really being thrown off by the yellow markers that are set out for the beach sprint training.
Yeah.
They're looking around, they're seeing them, and they're coming for them. The wind has certainly picked up.
So we are waiting for, here is another Turkish. So that is the... Subasi, yeah. Do you think that's
09?
Senza? I think that's 01 actually. Cesar.
Dubasi.
Oh, Subasi, you can read better than me.
So they're 8th position.
They're 8th, and so we're waiting for the 9th crew to come across.
One more. We have Croatia, one coming in here. Igor Boraska, just out there a little while ago.
Where is he?
They're way, way down the beach.
Oh, so they're not going to qualify for the A final, unless...
They will. They're in 9th right now, I think.
Oh, that's crazy. Igor Boraska, the Olympic bronze medalist in the 8s from Sydney.
I'm actually seeing a boat floating out there. There's a boat floating by itself.
Oh, no. So here we see, and this is the 9th qualifier. It's Turkiye 1, Cesar. That was Gökmen Cesar.
Yep, 9th.
They're 9th. So that's those. Oh, how worrying is that with a boat floating? I don't see anyone in it.
Potentially there wasn't, the boat handlers weren't quick enough.
Oh, so it floated back out.
Yeah, potentially. Oh, Anderson.
So that's the
Till Anderson.
Till Anderson, yeah, and they are in 10th place, so they have missed the A final.
He was just out in the men's solo as well.
So they're both tied.
Here we have Germany.
Yeah, so that's Phil Holman from the Neusser Club, 40 years of age, and they come in 11th place.
2 more to go. Wind has certainly picked up. Look at the breakers that are happening now, about like 50 metres, 100 metres out.
That's a good spot.
It's certainly after becoming more challenging for the entry and exit positions.
Yeah, so
a lot of breakers.
If you've just tuned in and you're wondering what's happening, this is the finish area for a heat of the Club Coastal men's double scull. So they've kind of raced a 4-kilometre course out at sea, along the beach and then back and then in. And we have our 9 crews through to the A final, and we are waiting for a crew from Turkiye 3, from the Avin University. And we are also waiting for Turkiye 7 from Bodrum Sori. And some of these guys haven't been rowing, or they train on flatter waters. So there we see Turkiye 7. And they are going to be very careful how they get off. And they're going on, as you say, they're going on the boys, those yellow boys, for the beach sprint practice. So I think they've been put off by that.
And I think there's actually a big push now as well. It seems like they're just kind of being swept down the beach a little bit as well.
Yeah, but the tides here aren't like massive like they are, like they were in Sandersfoot or somewhere like that, which is really...
When you're out there on the water and you turn around, it is very disorienting when you look at the beach, because all you're seeing is loads of boats, loads of people, and it's actually, because of all the tents, it's hard to know where the finish area is.
Look at that, you've got the boat handlers. I think the medals, they ought to be medals for boat handling. So he needs to be told where the finish is. And
that is Turkiye 07.
Turkiye 07.
Hassan Circe.
Thank you. So well done, Hassan, for making a safe exit. That was the stroke of the boat, the 43-year-old, deciding he would finish. We've got a little break after this one, haven't we, between this heat and the next heat of coastal men's singles.
Here we have the final one, Turkiye 03.
Yeah, so that is Yigit Khan Kizlats, and the 23-year-old is the final competitor. He will be ticked off by the finish official. I think you can see that happening there. And our next scheduled heat is the Club Coastal Men's Solo Heat 2, which was due off at 11:30, but I think you will have noticed it's past 11:30 Turkish time now. It's now 12:10, and we have got a little break. So I'm guessing on this little break that that we're going to take a little break, and there we go. So the first heat is due off. The second heat is due off in 20 minutes. Neve.
Yes, 12:30 we'll have the second heat of the men's solo, then the second heat of the women's quad, the men's double, and then into the little break before the B finals. So we'll have the 3 B finals from these categories later on this afternoon. So quite quick turnaround for anyone that was racing.
So if you're in Europe, those times will obviously be 11:30 Central European Summer Time. If you're in the UK watching, hello, it's lovely to have you with us. Then it will be 10:30 British Summer Time. Here in Turkiye, it is now 12:10, and that is the time we're going on local time for the regatta schedule. If you're watching in the USA, I'm sorry I can't work out the time in the USA, but it's probably early morning sometime.
It would be, and the East Coast 7 hours behind here, I reckon.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
10 past 5.
I want to trust your maths more than I want to trust mine. Yeah, it is 05:11 in New York. Thank you to my watch on the phone. So we're going to take a little break, and we will be back, I think, in 10 minutes to do the introductions for the Heat 2 of the Club Men's Coastal Solos. Lots of excitement going on, at least wise in the commentary box for myself and Neve, as we work out what shots we're getting and how best to bring you the stories of these incredible races today. But for 10 minutes, it's goodbye from me and Neve.
Böyle gidiyor. Bizim getirdiğimiz var değil mi? Başlıyoruz. Ya. Ben geldikçe söylerim. Dün abi yemek yok mu ya?
Karşı tarafta tekneler buraya geçiyor. Herkes oraya gitsin.
Aynen. Hadi oğlum gidelim. Bu adam ne falan yapıyor?
Hello and welcome back. And if you've been watching that graphic, you now have the joy of myself, Martin Cross, and Neve Hayes to talk you through what will be the second heat of the Club Men's Coastal Solo. And you can see that starting at 12:30 in 3 minutes' time. And then we go through the various heats, the second of Club Coastal Women's Quads and Club Coastal Men's Doubles. And the reason they're so spread out is because these athletes are borrowing and sharing boats. And then this afternoon is the final Bs. So we'll take you through that program, but this is the morning program of Heat 2s in those events. And we're really excited about who's in the Club Coastal Men's Singles, Neve.
Yeah, from a coastal perspective, a few big names. USA 01, Christopher Bach, representing Next Level Rowing. Why is there a USA competitor at the European Rowing Coastal and Beach Sprint Championships? Well, because there is no World Championships this year in the endurance racing. They opened up the Europeans to non-European rowers. So we have Christopher Bach here racing. We also have Justin Stevens from USA 02. And then lots of big names. We have Pekka Mäkelä from Finland 01. He was 6th last year at the European Rowing Coastal Championships. We also have Marc Franquet Montfort of Spain 02. He won a silver medal at the Europeans last year, 6th at the World, so he'll be certainly one to watch in this heat. But lots of returning rowers from the coastals and beach sprints over the last few years. We also have a few flatwater rowers thrown in there.
Yeah, that lad you talked about, Marc Franquet Montfort, was a junior rower, the Spanish guy from Barcelona. Fred Garibaldi from Santo Stefano al Mare. So obviously that's a sea club, I can tell that because it says Al Mare. Who's had a terrible 2024 with loads of injuries. He was an under-23 sweet rower, so recognise his name. Simona Martini, who we've just seen with Goretti qualify in the men's Club Coastal doubles, so he's going to be destroyed. Hakan Kuroglu, the 20-year-old kid from Turkiye, is the only competitor in this event. The Club Coastal has actually come back from Shanghai, where they had that fantastic championships, and the Fenerbahce athlete is going here in this, and we've got the start being given, and well, we have got, you can probably see that better than me. I want to say Chris Back is going to be out in front. Unfortunately, I don't have his boat number, Chris Back.
So they're leading it out. It looks like the Italian, Italy 01 Garibaldi is here in that pink boat we saw earlier on as well. I do know Christopher Bach, I think he's in the middle of the field there. He is returning from injury is the one thing, so I'm not sure if he'll be right up in that leading pack initially anyway. But that is definitely Garibaldi here leading this one out. We do have a sculler over on the far side as well. Very hard to tell who that is right now. Of course, they're not wearing their national colours, they're wearing their club uniforms.
Yeah, that's our get-out clause, isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can tell. So, I kind of like, I'm interested in that sculler just behind with the sort of the white bows and the red bow, and I just wonder if that's sort of one of the USA scullers.
I'm looking at the blades.
Yeah, I'm looking at the blades too.
But that doesn't say, because there's a lot of sharing of equipment here.
Well, it doesn't say. So 126, we don't have the boat numbers for 126.
It does look like, I could be totally wrong, it looks like a Next Level one piece, which means it could be one of the USA rowers.
Yeah, do you want to just talk about Next Level? Because I found out about Next Level yesterday.
That is actually USA 01, so that is Christopher Bach with the white baseball cap, who is in second.
Is he? So he's one boat number.
Yeah, so let's talk about them. So they are set up by Ben Booth and Marc Oria. Marc Oria was a former national Spanish rower. Ben Booth, they've come together to create this Next Level Rowing, whereby they take rowers, a lot of them flat water rowers from right around the US, and they've created this incredible coastal rowing team, and we've seen them at the endurance and beach sprint events over the years, since really probably Portugal 2021, right the way through, and they have so many medals in beach sprints and endurance. Christopher Bach, he's the reigning beach sprint world champion from last year, but he is just returning from an injury. So great to see him so far up the field already early on in this race.
Yeah, I kind of think it's a bit sad they can't do beach sprint. I know why they can't do beach sprint here at the weekend, but really stoked to be here at the weekend. So we're looking at the race leader, the Italian. So that is...
Yeah, he's been doing coastal since 20...
Garibaldi, which
Yes.
is a very famous Italian name.
He's been doing coastal back since 2011, so loads of experience. Look at this, Christopher Bach starting to make a little bit of a move on the Italian.
Garibaldi there. So they've both had injuries. So, well, 2024 was full of injuries. So I think for this year, he said it's a little bit difficult. The Italians are here in force in terms of their national team, aren't they? They're all here, I guess, racing in national colours, although this is the club event. But there we see a nice head-to-head sort of competition with Chris Bach. Quite adept, I think, in endurance rowing, just checking his position on the buoys. And they really do have to look round and check where the buoy is, because this is a 1 kilometre stretch, isn't it? And it's hard to see a yellow buoy, even if it is big, from 1 kilometre away.
Yeah, and in particular, next level rowing, like they train their athletes to be absolutely present in the present moment, to not let anything go to chance. And that's why we're seeing Chris look around so much. He's just making sure he is on absolute point to that first turning point. Like he's looking every couple of strokes, he's over his shoulder. But particularly when you're in that lead position, you have nobody to look at. Not that you really want to trust anyone anyway. You want to be able to trust your position, but it's all about being present,
so with that
being aware.
multi-coloured boat, 110, that is the Spanish Marc-Franque Montfort, who is in, I guess, third place, but there's a real duel going on for that third place at the moment.
Aidan Barry there, another Kilmac Simon rower representing Ireland, very strong rower in Ireland. He raced in the quad last year at the Worlds. We saw him at the Home International Beach Sprints as well a few weeks ago.
He's only 19.
Yeah, young rowers.
Youngster.
And they have big support here from Kilmac Simon.
Yeah, 1-2-1 just going round there. Another Italian, Rosario Panteca. And he's balancing elite level training with being a full-time professional rower. Sorry. But there's the boats, there's the USA 2 boat there, and that getting tangled up. That's Justin Stevens from Next Level Rowing. Why is he so far back?
Well, he was just out in the men's double a little while ago with Malachi Anderson. So not much recovery. He was in the first heat there of the men's double. So he had like half an hour to turn around and get out in this. So that fatigue is gonna come into play here.
That's quite interesting tactics. I mean, we've got Bach out in front, and then we've got 3 scullers pretty much close up behind him, whether they're just happy on this outward leg to be in that position and bide their time. We have seen athletes really going for it, even in these heats where the first 9 will qualify. We've got another, I want to say, kind of 11, 12 minutes left in this race.
Yeah, for sure. So what's after happening? The wind is after swinging around to the south. So where we are on the beach, we're facing south. So the wind is being blown in from offshore into the beach. So here on this leg, where they're parallel to the shore, the wind is going to be pushing them slightly inwards. So key here now is for them to angle their buoy or their bow out to sea just ever so slightly, so that they're not pushed in too much by that wind and by that little bit of a swell that's there. So you are seeing the different tactics and navigation skills here. Chris would be well used to this out in front. You know, he's still looking over the shoulder to make sure he is in line with that turning point, but you can see, particularly I think Garibaldi was maybe being pushed in a little bit and staying maybe a little bit too narrow for that second turning point.
Yeah, long look rounds from the Cincinnati native there, Cincinnati, Ohio, which I think is where Mark Oreo is based. And in second place there, it is the Spanish from Barcelona, Marc-Franque Montfort. So he's made a little bit of a gap between himself and the Italian sculler Federico Garibaldi, who's looked round there. They all need to look round, don't they? Because you're out in the middle of the ocean and you're heading for that yellow buoy, which is getting closer, but it really is very difficult and challenging, isn't it?
It is, and if you go the wrong side of that and you continue your race, you get a DNF, or else you're going to have to turn around and go back around it, which is going to add a lot of time here. This is Aidan Crowley there. Kilmac Simon was in our view as well.
So we had a little course correction there, Aidan. He just, you know, went a little bit on his port side oar, on his stroke side oar. He just wanted to be in the right position for the buoy.
Yeah, we're seeing Chris here now. Lovely, relaxed rowing. They pride themselves on how relaxed they stay in their body. And look, he even stops and pauses. But this is what gets them ahead. This is why they're such good rowers. They're not panicking. They're staying present, even pausing at the catch if they need to.
He's very measured. I heard him being interviewed about his beach sprint tactics on World Rowing. You can see the video on worldrowing.com. And he doesn't like to hit a buoy in case he catches a crab. And that's no different, really. He gave that buoy a wide berth, whereas the Irish sculler behind him, he's taking a look at Chris Back. Do you think he's taking a look because, like, how close is he? Can I get past it? Like, how many athletes here want to get Chris Back's scalp?
Yeah, a lot. Like, you know, he's one of the top rowers, particularly in the beach sprint. I know the endurance maybe didn't go their way last year. He was in the men's double, finishing 18th. He was 8th in the men's solo. But, you know, so well known over the years, and for anyone to come close to him, you know, that's a good privilege. So they have the wind with them now, so they're going to use that to their advantage. And you can see Chris here now with his big lie back as well, quite similar to the Spanish style of rowing that we saw. But look at him, he's literally stopping rowing for a couple of seconds at a time to make sure he is on point. Thing is, they did not get to train, as we spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
So they did not get a chance to go out there and have a look at the markers on land to know. So they're really learning the course for the first time. And actually, the more time he spends now looking around, the less he'll have to when he gets into a final later on.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting. I would say the sculler from Ireland is kind of just sort of gradually making up ground, Aidan Crowley. But Chris Back, the former lightweight rower, although I think he's bulked up now, the American Chris Back. But he has taken to beach sprints like nothing else. Oh, look at that. How would you read that? I mean, I love
confidence.
that. I love
That's
that.
confidence for you.
Waving at the drone. So, yeah. So he's going back towards the beach.
He is.
This is the second place now.
So that's 110. Spain 02. That is Frank Quay.
I want to say that's, yeah, Frank Quay, Spain 02.
Second last year at the European Championships. Coastal Championships.
Characteristic lean back, isn't it? We
Yeah.
saw Anzar there. Boat number 110. There's the race leader, Chris Back. And where's the Irish athletes, Eve? I'm just looking for them.
They're really staying with these two rowers. They're not showing us much else behind. Not sure we have data from the turning points either right now. Not sure where.
Sure we do.
So here we are coming to turning point 4. So they have a nice 1 kilometre leg to go here. They're going to be parallel to the shore. So that was Christopher Back going around first position. That is Frank Quay of Spain 02.
So he's in second place.
And so we'll start to see now who the rest of the bunch here.
So do we think the Irish lad might be this sculler here coming up in third place?
Well, he's wearing a red one piece, if that helps.
Yeah, that does
There we
help.
go. That's him there. That is Aidan Barry coming around in third position. I keep mixing up. There was John Barry earlier. This is Aidan Crowley coming
Aidan
around
Crowley,
third
yeah.
position. This is Garibaldi.
So that's the Italian who was drawn first and very leisurely round the turn there. Obviously knows he's in a good qualifying position. That's Garibaldi in fourth, is it?
That was him in fourth, yes.
Yeah.
Aidan Crowley was in third. So there's a few coming in here. We have three
So
rowers
this is
coming
fifth,
in.
sixth, seventh, eighth. So that sculler just out there is ninth. So
So we have 126 here. That is USA.
that's Justin Stevens, I'm going to say. Is that right? No. 126 is the Finland sculler. Pekka. Back to our race leader here. It all looks very easy, doesn't it?
It does look very, very easy. Lovely, relaxed rowing.
So this-
Really taking his time.
This man has come here really because he's going to be in a month's time when the World Beach Sprint Championships are held at this very venue on this water. He will be racing for yet another world title. And this is really giving him the vibes of the water. I mean, how important, how useful is it to be on the water that you're racing?
Hugely, hugely important, and that this is where USA spend a lot of time. Team US, they spend a lot of time. Like they come to Europe before any of these events, so they've been in training in Spain at the Beach Sprint Academy before this, so they get used to the climate, the time zones. Now they're here 3 weeks out from the World Beach Sprint Championships to get used to the water, the feel of it. You know, they're going to get to train in the water that they're going to be competing in. Like Chris hopes to go to the Olympics in LA, there's no doubt about it, you know, and he wants to get as much experience and time spent racing beach sprints as he can.
Yeah, so Marc Francois Montfort there, who is in second place behind Chris Back, the man from Barcelona.
So they're our first two here.
Yeah. And actually, the distance looks less there than it looked from our drone shot behind, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of looks like if the Spanish guy wanted to have a go, he could be aggressive towards Chris Back. But I guess Chris Back's got stuff in reserve.
You'd imagine so. You know, he's going to use the race to his advantage to see where he is compared to the rest of the field, but he's also going to conserve a little bit of energy, not going to want to give everything away right now. Whereas Francois may want to see how close he can get to Christopher, because Christopher is going to be potentially within, you know, in contention for a medal. So it's useful for Marc Francois to see how close he can get to Chris.
So Francois, all he's got to do is think Chris Back's doing all this look round and navigation, so I just have to follow him. He doesn't have to
Absolutely.
look for the boy.
Yeah.
He just has to follow Chris Back.
Yeah.
Think I'll trust that he's in the right place. I would like to see if Chris is going to give us another wave to the camera. I bet he's not.
What will be great to see is his finish and exit of the boat.
There we go.
So he's coming towards the end of that 1K leg and going to be coming into the chicane now shortly. But his exits of the boat and his run up the beach, you're going to get a lot of waves.
So he's steering, I think, to the left of it because
Yes.
maybe the current might be bringing him or the swell might be bringing him towards it. So he's kind of got to adjust for the swell. He can't head straight for
Exactly.
it. In other words, because he'll miss it and go the wrong side.
Exactly. So you'd have to stay offshore of
So
it.
he's made an adjustment there on his starboard side blade,
Yeah.
his bow side blade, just to make sure, because he knows he's being pushed in.
Yeah, it's called ferry gliding, where you angle your bow out away into where the wind is coming from.
Yeah, yeah,
That'll
yeah.
keep you in that nice straight line.
It's interesting because I was doing the canoe slalom in the Paris Olympics, and they do a ferry glide, you know, between gates there. Particularly the Pike X, they do a similar thing on the ferry glide, and kind of judge where the current will take their boat. Those two athletes are very close together, aren't they?
They are. There's not much separating them right now.
So they come into the beach and then they're going to go across again, aren't they?
They are. So they're coming straight for the beach right now, and then they're going to go do a left-hand turn, and they're going to go parallel again. And then they're going to come straight into the beach. So I'm interested to see if they're going to head way down the beach now that we saw the last few heats where the rowers were going way off the finish line.
Do you think they've watched that and they'll know?
Surely, their coaches definitely have. So we have Aidan Crowley, Ireland 02. Solid third position here for Aidan.
Yeah, very solid.
Yeah, very solid. He's been, really took to this style of coastal rowing over the last few years, has got himself in a really good position here. He'll be loving being so close to Christopher Back, no doubt here.
Yeah, because, I mean, at 19 years of age, you're just out of juniors, so that's a big turn from Chris Back there, which I think will be slower than his turn that he does in beach sprint. I'm sure it is. Because he can get round maybe sometimes in 2 strokes on that 180 turn, maybe 3. But he's been very cautious and conservative, isn't he?
So we saw Barletta 2 years ago at the World Championships. He was in a men's double with Corey Rogers. They were leading out the final and they went totally off course. And they had to put a lot of work in to get back. So I think he's spending more time getting to know the course maybe this time so that that doesn't happen.
So
But look at this.
Again.
Frank Way has come right up onto the stern of Chris.
So Chris Back's been really cool. So he's now going for it. So Chris Back's just put the afterburners on, I'd say. And he just took a length off Frank Way, 2 lengths. So what's the course like there?
So you see they're very much overturning, and Frank Way has actually spotted what's happening and he's coming straight for us, but Chris Back is heading down the beach. So actually, if you look at the 2 scullers, they're in very different angles coming in.
So Frank Way, if he goes more to the right, he's going to have less of a sprint.
Absolutely.
He could actually beat Chris Back and get the first place.
And look at the surf now. So Frank Way is actually being thrown slightly sideways. There's a much bigger surf now compared to earlier. So it's actually all about handling the boat now, because you will be thrown sideways very, very quickly.
Chris Back is going on the beach sprint call. He thinks he's here for beach sprints at the finish, Chris Back. And Frank Way is past him. Frank Way is going to win this, and Chris Back has kind of misjudged his run in.
And he's going to get tangled on a finger buoy.
Oh, my goodness.
So yes, Frank Way is pretty much straight in.
So that is amazing, really. The 35-year-old Spaniard is beating the world beach sprint champion. At the moment, he's got to get out of the boat. So here we go, Frank Way is out of the boat. There are loads of boat handlers there, but he is running up, will take first place in this Heat 2 of the Men's Club Coastal Singles.
Yeah, and here's Chris doing a full-on sprint.
Whoa, what happened there, Chris?
But that's a good learning curve.
Yeah.
You know, he'll know what to do now next time.
Yeah.
A little shake of the head.
Little fist pump there. So we're looking for the Irish sculler with the red top, who is still heading into the beach. You can see from our drone shot.
Working hard to stay straight.
Yeah, and the handlers are very quickly there to get his boat out.
So this is Aidan Crowley representing Kilmac Simon. Swimming and Rowing Club, making his way up the beach. Lovely position here, finishing in that 3rd spot here in the 2nd heat of the men's solo. Very solid race there from Aidan.
Yeah, perfect race from Aidan Crowley to take that 3rd place. So it's Garibaldi, the Italian, in 4th place. So there are another 5 available for the finish. And the course is now much better for the scullers coming in. They're much closer to the finish line. Can't see what number that is.
They're definitely coming in closer.
Is that the sculler from Finland, perhaps?
We had Italy there that we just missed. They came from the other side. So Martini from Italy, we missed him because he came from the other angle.
Okay, so from Galeb, there was Serbia sculler, so he came 6th. And that is another Italian sculler, so who was that? Martini, we missed Martini. They're coming from all angles here. It's very difficult.
It was Giovanni Clavarino was there. He just finished 7th.
So Clavarino finished 7th.
We have Turkiye.
Oh, Karoglu. So Karoglu's got through, and
Justin Stevens.
So I want to say Karoglu was 8th and Justin Stevens was 9th.
Yes.
So USA is 9th. I just don't have the 7th athlete.
Once I get my notes here, I have it. So 7th was Clavarino, Italy 02.
Yes. From Murucalo Club. and the 38-year-old.
Oh, nice little battle here.
Yeah.
That was Luca Del Elise, Italy 03. Just missing out on a spot in the A. He finished 10th there.
Aha. Oh, and here's the sculler from Finland, who I think is our 11th place sculler, Pekka Mäkelä. Or Mäkelä. I'm sure I could pronounce that. And the sculler's still out on the course, coastal men's singles. So these will go through to the B finals. Turkiye 10, boat 140. So that's Karakorlu. And I get the feeling I might have seen him in doubles. Jump across the finish line there.
We're seeing all the Turkish rowers coming in here.
Absolutely.
So last two, I think, to come.
And it's good because the finish position is kind of a little more calm now. There's less boats going across it, and easier for the athletes, isn't it?
It is, it is. Yeah, it can get quite busy here when a lot of boats are coming in on top of each other. So we're looking out at the course. Yeah, the last couple of scullers, I think, are coming across now, parallel to the shore, into that chicane. So 2 to go, and then we're also seeing the boats out on the water at the start line. The Club Coastal Women's Cox Quadruple Sculls, Heat 2. They still have a little bit to go before their start. About 5-6 minutes to go. But that was some exciting racing, Martin.
Yeah, it was.
And that was just a heat. The final will be really, really good.
Tipping out the water from the boats there. These Filippi boats, I want to say. Boat number 126 had a fair bit of water in, as you would expect from Mäkelä, Finnish sculler. See those little Toblerones on the bows of the boat, and they're kind of interchangeable. The boat numbers aren't. But we are getting notice of the boat numbers just before these guys go on the water, which is kind of where we're able to tell. So here's the start list for the Club Coastal Women's Quadruple Sculls.
Yes, we had 21 entries in total. We had the first heat earlier. We have 10 crews competing here in this one. Top 9 will be going into final A. So just one of these crews will miss out and go into final B. We still have a little bit to go before the start of this race. They haven't put up the top or the 3 starting balls yet. We have about just over 4 minutes to go to the start of this race. 10 crews. We have Germany 02, Czechia 01, Turkiye 09, Spain 03, Turkiye 08, Turkiye 03, Ireland 01, Ireland 02. Have to give a special shout out to them. Galley Flash, my own rowing club. We have Turkiye 05 and Turkiye 06. So yeah, 3 of these crews are representing the Masters category. Czechia 1, Spain 03, Turkiye 06. So we're just getting the boat numbers now. So we'll be able to identify who's who once they start racing. We'll be getting going shortly.
Yeah, still plenty of time. I think we haven't seen the 3 balls. That denotes start is 3 minutes away. And all these women's quads have safely negotiated the boating, which I guess would have been their first big challenge. And now gone around the warm-up area. They're the 3 balls. So we're 3 minutes away from the start of Heat 2 of the Club Coastal Women's Quads. And there will be 9 to qualify for the A final. So there being 10 crews, we're just looking for the first 9, and it'll be the 10th crew who go through to the B final.
So if you're out there, it'll be pretty easy to identify if you're going to get a qualifying spot. We were wondering earlier how they were going to count them.
Yeah, this time it's easy.
This time it is easy. So for the starting sequence, anyone that's not familiar with it, there's 2 kind of starting things going on. We have the balls on the beach, which are up in the air. There's 3 balls to let the rowers know that there's 3 minutes to go. And next to them, there's going to be a starting boat out there that's going to have a hooter, and they will hear 3 short hooters. Then once the first minute is gone, one of the balls will drop to let them know there's 2 minutes to go, and there'll be 2 short hoots. And we were just saying earlier, like the starting balls are quite a distance away from the start line. I'm not sure I'd actually be able to see them if I was out there on the water.
No. I mean, they're like 50 metres away, and I've got trouble seeing them here, actually.
Yeah, so we're seeing 4:08 there. That is Spain 03, closest to us here.
Yeah, Spain 03 is one of the Masters entries. Ages of the women in that crew from 43 to 51. Coxed by Vicente Joro Lopez, the male cox.
Next to them, 4:06 Ireland 01, very strong crew there. Niamh Dugan, Danica Maguire, Katie Sherlew, Alexandra Hutchinson, coxed there by Amy McGivern. Niamh, Danica and Katie were 4th at the World Coastal Championships last year. This year they're being joined by Alex Hutchinson in the stroke seat.
Less than a minute away, and that boat at the top of the course seems to have a little bit of an advantage, I would say.
The one on the far side?
Yeah, the one on the far side.
I think they're looking to just stay out of danger right now, trying to get some clear water for themselves, whereas the crews here closest to us, they're going to have the most direct route to the first turning marker. So we're seeing Turkiye 09 closest to us.
Yeah.
They will have the inside line to the turning point.
Turkiye 09. They're not racing in the Masters, but stroked by Meliki Kapu, the 42-year-old. And the cox who's looking at her is Yalin Alaydin.
So we should be getting going now very, very soon.
Got the blade square. There it is. Hooter's gone. And we saw boat 416 there, Turkey 6. They are a Masters crew, stroked by Asin Temel, 50-year-old.
All crews really kind of stayed back well behind the line there just to make sure they didn't get that penalty. We are seeing Ireland 01 there. They're in the yellow Swift. They're starting, you know, pushing themselves here. Then it is 4:08, so Spain 03. So Spain 03 and Ireland 01 going nice and quick there. Off the start.
I do like that shot. I mean, you know, what a great advert for coastal rowing. You've got total synchronicity, sun glinting on the water. I know they're not in the lead, but it looks beautiful, doesn't it?
It looks absolutely beautiful. Sun shining, blue skies. Ireland here, 01, putting themselves in a lovely position with Spain 03, Barbara Gonzalez Perez, and the stroke woman, Amelia Ioana Marin Heppel. They were 9th 2 years ago at the European Championships.
Yeah, and that's a Masters crew, 408.
Yeah.
So what's the Masters crew doing?
Being
Bossing
that
it up there, yeah, close to Island 01.
Bossing it, for
So,
sure.
they will get to the A final of this. So Masters medals, I think, will be, if they maintain that finish position, Masters medals will be given out in the A finals tomorrow, won't they? Not today.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
So this is qualifying for the A final. So that boat on the top of the picture in sort of joint second place, we are looking to ident them.
4:05. So,
yeah, that's the first boat. So it's the Germans. And that's Kölner Ruderverein, stroked by Sina Burmeister, 36 years of age, and Rafael Giuseppe De Vito, which sounds completely un-Germanic, but the 19-year-old cox in the stern of that boat.
So really interesting. 3 out of the German boat finished 5th last year at the World Championships. 3 out of the Irish boat came 4th. So they already met each other, these two crews, last year. Some of them anyway at the World Championships. Ireland 4th and Germany were 5th.
Yeah, so they're out on this very long 1 kilometre leg, which is kind of moving towards, I mean, the sort of, the horizon is the south and they're moving east along the beach. You kind of got Ireland in the lead, Germany 4:05 in second place, and then you've got the Masters crew 4:08 from the club Nautico Aula in third place. Altea, I should say.
Yeah, so lovely rowing here from Ireland 01. Niamh and Danica. Niamh in the bow seat, Danica in front of her from Kincastle Rowing Club.
I want to say that they're out early at the finish. The Germans are kind of rowing sort of longer. It's not like the Spanish style where they're longer through. They're kind of out quicker and I guess maybe cleaner and slightly higher. That enables them to slightly rate higher. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing.
I am seeing it. Yeah, they're while Niamh and Danica came from coastal rowing, they've gotten into flat water rowing. And the girls with them, so Katie and Alex, are from a classic rowing background as well. So it's much more kind of classic rowing style, I would say, compared to the traditional coastal that we were seeing. Now they're in a really good position here because they're heading in towards the first turning point, which is where you want to be in a quad. But you have to be careful of the Germans on the outside because they're obviously going to want to try and keep us close to that turning point as well. They don't want to go all the way right wide around it. So if Ireland put on a little bit of a push here now and get themselves solidly in that lead away from the German boat, they'll stay out of trouble.
So Ireland leading this pack of 3, Germany to their left, and then to their right, maybe a couple of lengths behind, it is the crew from Spain, from the Altea club. And then you can see a pack behind, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and I can see one boat 10th. And the 10th and the 9th place are quite close. Talk me through that turn, Niamh.
Yeah, beautiful turn. They're all giving each other lots of space. Spain probably going quite nearly too wide around it here now. It was Ireland went around first, then it was the Germans, and now it is Spain 03. So we'll have a look now as to who's coming in next. And our shot just got stuck. So hard to know who went around, bar those top 3 positions.
I think it's Ireland 02.
So that is Galliflash,
Galliflash,
my own home club.
So they're qualifying and in a strong position around that buoy.
Yeah, so if we're right there, coming in 4th position, Aisling Fien there in the bow, Ciara Rahilly and Michael Fien Coxing. They raced last year at the European Championships, finishing 8th, and they're joined by Adele O'Donovan and Sinead O'Donovan in the stroke seat. So I've actually been training with this crew, I'll let you know, in the lead up to this.
I thought you looked like you've been doing a bit of a workout.
So Sinead in the stroke seat is a college student, and she's been studying in Spain the last 6 weeks or so. So I've been filling in for her. So I'll be keeping a close eye on them now and seeing how they get on.
So the Germans look to be putting a little effort in. I'm not sure that was, I mean, Ireland had a big turn, but they are now stoked, that German crew. And Sina Burmeister, the 36-year-old stroke, has driven up the rating, and their bows are right on the stern of the Irish boat that looks slightly more conservative, I kind of want to say, but maybe they're just keeping the distance.
The Germans look like they're working very hard
to
kind of get into that position.
I'm not sure how sustainable that's going to be. Out of interest. We're now, I think the crews are heading towards the beach on this leg, and then they're going to come back westward. Oh no, they're heading, from that shot. So they're still heading towards the east after that first turn.
Yeah, they're on that 750 leg before they head towards the beach.
So this is quite compelling. Where the third place crew have gone, I cannot see. The veterans from Spain, the Altea club. who are in a good third place, but these two have obviously distanced themselves. They're racing for the win.
Yeah, it's interesting because Ireland still look, you know, more controlled, more relaxed, but the Germans, they are working hard, but they're getting up right alongside Ireland. So let's see what happens. Obviously, Ireland have the better line coming into this turning point. They have the inside line, so they'll have a shorter route. But their speed, if they keep it very tight, their speed will obviously drop and they'll have to accelerate out of it.
You can see the German stroke has shortened significantly from what they had been doing. I'd say it's even shorter than the Irish now. They've lost finish length to get rating. So,
but as you said, not very sustainable.
Yeah, well, that's kind of looking at it. I'm thinking they're going to run out of juice.
For a long race like this, like they still have potentially 12 minutes.
Yeah. And then the Irish have just moved away, haven't they?
Yeah, starting to pull away here now.
It's that length off the back end from boat 405, which is from Germany. And Stefaning, Romy Dreyer, Annika Steinau, Sina Burmeister and Raffaella De Vito in the Cox's seat. So I wonder who's saying anything in the Irish crew, because they're saying like, well, we're moving away, guys, now. And the Cox hasn't looked, oh, he has just looked round there. So here's the turn. Let's see how they come out of the turn.
It was lovely there. They didn't have to lose too much speed. She had enough water to be able to not go too tight, not go too wide. They just kept rowing. But Germany obviously took a bit of an inside line there now. And look at them, German. The German crew are going.
So that is Raffaele Giuseppe De Vito who's gone, OK, guys, let's go for it. We've got the inside line now. And there are the third place crew, I think. Is that right?
Looks like the Spanish crew,
yeah,
Spain
the Spanish
03.
crew, the first of the Masters crew from the Antalya club.
So here are our leaders here again. So Ireland 02, just getting themselves back into a lovely position.
So what I found interesting there was on the turn, the Germans had another go. They kind of went crazy and maybe it took a metre or 2 metres, but now they've just run out of something and Ireland are just going away almost every stroke.
Absolutely. So they have the wind with them now on this leg. It's a southerly wind at the moment, and Ireland just seem to be taking a little bit more advantage. Their style of rowing is getting more of an advantage than that very quick rate that Germany are still pretty much keeping up. Like the rates are very different. Like the Germans are really just taking a lot out of them. Like they're very safe in an A final.
Yes. So if you're watching this and you've just recently tuned in, you're with the 2025 European Coastal and Beach Sprint Championships. I'm Martin Cross, and with me, Niamh Hayes, and we are looking at a heat of the Club Coastal Women's Quadruple Sculls. And the first 9 of these crews go through to the A final, but actually the race has been completely cutthroat between the German crew on the left of your picture and the Irish crew have led them pretty much the whole way. And Germany essentially want to beat Ireland, and it doesn't matter that they're comfortably qualifying. They're not really doing anything else except trying to beat Ireland. And obviously the Irish crew, you've heard them there, are looking back at Germany and going, you're not going to get closer to us. And that's how it's been. It's very compelling to watch.
It certainly is. And they're coming in towards turning point 4 now. And after this, they're going to have a big, long leg again for 1,000 metres. So the Germans will have plenty of space if they want. But they're really not finishing out the stroke at all here.
No.
Really rushing that finish.
I think it would be very, very significant if Germany, using that style, got through the Irish. And I would have to say that would be incredible. Look at the rudder, 90-degree rudder turn on, handbrake turn on. And to my way of thinking, the Germans, the Irish rode round and the Germans have used their sort of starboard side blades, bow side blades, to actually make the turn. And I think slower than the Irish crew.
Yeah, you're slowing the boat and you're having to reaccelerate.
So great cox in there from Amy McGivern, I would say.
Brilliant coxing, yes, from Amy here, steering these. It's hard when you're in the lead because you have nobody to judge yourself off. You're having to go around that course. For the first time, they haven't been able to train at all. They've been here since Sunday, haven't been able to get out. So Amy is just learning the course just as much. She's having a look over her shoulder to make sure the Germans aren't catching up. I'm not sure they will. They still look pretty solid here.
I'm just
Ireland
wondering, I was going to ask you, because you know these women, are any one of the Irish women, are they sort of, you know, like the bow woman or the two women, are they saying this is where the German crew are, or is it just down to Amy in the cox's seat to look around?
No, I think they'll be talking to each other. Generally, there's a lot of talking going on in these boats because there's so much happening and you're not always going to see everything. So, like, there in the stroke seat, Alex is going to be letting Amy know whether the Germans are getting close or not.
So I kind of want to say the Germans have lengthened their finish. They've settled more into what I'd say a sustainable rhythm. And, okay, so I now think they're not really going to go for Ireland unless something drastic happens. So that compelling racing that we saw between Germany and Ireland is somewhat quietened down as we head back towards the finish area on this 1 kilometre stretch. The crews are now heading west along the beach, and they will then head up to Turnboys and go through the chicane.
So I'm trying to look at the rest of the field here on some of the times that we're getting through. So as we have been saying, Ireland 01 there in the lead, and then it's Germany 02. Spain 03 then currently sitting in that third position. And it looks like my home club of Galliflash, Ireland 02, are in that fourth position. Great position to be in. Then it is looking like Turkiye 08, followed by Turkiye 09. They're the times I have right now. I don't have everyone's times. But just important because our drone shots are staying with the leaders here. We're not sure what's happening back the field. But it does look like Spain 03 still in that third position. And stay in the present moment because every stroke you take is going to feel very, very different. So you really just have to go, stay aware, stay present, and just be in the moment here. But it was a good recovery, you know, after losing the oar. It didn't slow her down whatsoever.
Yeah, I thought she did that really well.
Yeah. So they're coming across the course now, heading towards the first marker in the chicane. So they'll be.
And actually, it's quite interesting because you won't see this on picture, but I'm looking at, I guess, mixed doubles. Mixed beach sprint doubles, possibly doing training.
Yes.
And they're kind of in an area that some of the boats competing have been coming in on. So we'll keep an eye on that.
We certainly will. So Ireland 01 are around that first chicane. Germany 02 are around. Looks like it is Spain 03 are going to be coming in next, going around that first chicane. So they have 100 metres to the next one, another 100 metres to the next one, and then they'll be into the boat. And then it is...
Yeah, so Ireland have a 7-second lead over Germany at the moment. Should be the Spanish in that third place. We don't have a time for them round the Barker Buoy just yet. But that has been the 1, 2, 3, and this ought to be another Irish crew. So yeah, Altea, Club Nautica Altea, 17:01. The Irish leaders went round at 16:35.
And this is the crew from Czechia. We actually haven't mentioned them. They haven't come up on our screens.
Ah, okay.
Another Masters crew.
From stroke by Zuzana Vaslova. And looking in the 4:05 there, that's the German boat in second place.
So it looks like Czechia are currently in fourth and potentially then Ireland 02 in fifth. Unfortunately, we don't have data for every turning point, only some of them, so it's very hard to say who is coming where. So we're doing our best to bring the correct results, but it's certainly Ireland 01 here leading this one out.
And they are going to be heading quite shortly for the shore.
And a beautiful angle coming out of that final turning point here by Amy. She is coming right, heading... And you really have to time the stroke and time where you put the power on, because otherwise you'll be thrown sideways, which Ireland 01 were slightly. They recovered well.
So the Germans are coming back on Ireland 01. So how come So I've been saying that's not sustainable, but the surf is making a difference here.
Oh, massively. If you catch them and time your rating right, you will make up so much ground.
I'd still say Ireland 1 are going to win this race, but Germany have got much, much closer to them.
Yes,
and it's going to be a real who's going to sprint in. So
we've Neil.
Franche Kosling from Germany. And there's the difference. So is she out of the boat?
We have
That's
Niamh
Ireland.
Dugan of Ireland.
She had to go for it there. And there's the German, Frankie Kosling. Lots of love at the finish between those two, and that was a fantastic little contest we had after a 4-kilometre race. And actually, it was a fantastic contest just on the surf in, because Germans caught it and the Irish crew didn't. And here we have one of the issues just coming into the beach from the Spanish crew. I think it's Antalya, is that right?
So we've one rower off the seat. I'm not sure how long she's been off the seat. In the 2 seat.
Yeah, sorry, that's Curler Ruderwein, that's Germany 2. 4:05. Oh no, Gonzalez from Spain.
Yeah, so they're third.
That's their third.
So yeah, they had a problem with the 2 seat there. It looked like they lost the seat.
Crew. Yeah.
And she was literally just sitting on the deck. That happens very easily, particularly in those breaking waves. Looks like it's Czechia in next.
So safely qualified, providing that the Jika Mastova gets onto the finish line. There she goes, nicely through, giving a name to the finish official.
So we have a good few boats now starting to come in, so things are getting busy here on the course. It's potentially a Turkish crew coming in next, followed by Ireland 02. So the next crew that will be coming in, we're looking for the 5th position. That is 416.
Yeah, it's slightly painful approach to the beach from Turkey 06 there. And that's Bahar Hasiriki, 44-year-old, coming up with the red cap on to sprint towards the finish line there.
And a big shout out to Aisling Feen in Ireland 02 Galley Flash boat. Very proud that my own club here have a team in the women's quad. Here she comes. What a sprint from Aisling Feen. Taking, looks like the 6th qualifying spot. 3 more to come in that A final. Here we have Turkiye.
And I couldn't see. That was another Turkish crew.
Unsure of the boat number of that one. And here we have a lovely shot here of 2 crews, 2 quads coming in very close together, one behind the other. This is not what you want to see. You want to create a bit of space on the beach. So here we have it, and they are being thrown sideways by those breaking waves. This is where you can lose control so easily.
Yeah, you kind of want to be aggressive in the water and just have the pace at this moment.
You really do. Because you're either up on a wave or at the bottom of a wave.
And that's Turkey 09, crew 425, where Denis Kozoglu, I guess, will jump out the boat.
And then we have Turkiye 05.
That's Bazoglu, jumps across the line.
I think that was 8th position, and this is 9th potentially. And it looks like the final quad is coming in towards the approach.
So that is the 10th place quad who have qualified for the B final, virtue of their 10th place position.
Yeah, so 10 crews in this, 9 of them going into the A final, which will be tomorrow. This is boat number 433. This is Turkiye 03. Cox there by Gulsh Dogan. Their final quad coming in the second heat of the Club Coastal Women's Cox Quadruple Sculls. Just getting caught at the bottom of a wave where speed really drops. But they're in. A lot of Turkish rowers here that we're seeing competing. They're quite new to the coastal rowing. And we have a lot of entries.
Yeah, and do a lot of training on flat water, don't they,
Yes.
as opposed to coastal. So this is all very new and different.
A big smile on her face here.
That was lovely to see, wasn't it?
It was indeed. That was Berna Altaparmak. Came out of the bow seat for Turkiye 03. So they'll be making their way to final B later on today. So we have, that rounds out the second heat of the women's quadruple sculls. We have less than 6 minutes to go to the next heat. It will be the Club Coastal men's double sculls. It's actually our final heat.
It's our final heat of the, I want to say the morning, because actually it's kind of like 1:25 here, local time in Turkiye. So these guys, some of whom raced in the singles this morning, the Club Coastal singles, they have waited for their boats. They're borrowing them from the first heat of the Club Coastal men's double sculls, which happened earlier on today. And the boats are now available. And just to remind you of what happened there, it was a very significant win for Hollandia Row Club of George Schaefer and Amos Kaiser, ahead of the crew from Seville, Fernandez and Gonzalez. About 20 seconds the Dutch had, and then it was the relative veterans, Martini and Goretti, in third place. So these guys came round the course in just under 18 minutes. So here we have Chris Back racing again for the USA, as we see the results for Club Coastal Women's Quads. There we see. Do you want to read that out, because it's your kind of Irish name?
A lot of Irish there, isn't it? It was Ireland 01. They won that one, and then Ireland 02, Galley Flash. Lots of supporters here from Galley Flash in Antalya. They were in that 6th position. But 9 of those crews we'll see tomorrow in the A final. So yeah, we're gearing up for the final heat. The Club Coastal men's double sculls. 13 crews in this one. And the top 9 again will be going into final A.
And I want to say, sorry, the first heat of Club Coastal Women's Quads was quicker. Does that mean anything? They were 18:44, the winners here for 19:17.
Definitely conditions have changed massively. Bit of a heavier wind out there. The wind has swung around, and it is definitely windier. So we have to take that into consideration as well, particularly when there was a couple of hours between them.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are the Club Coastal men's doubles on the start.
Yeah, the balls are up in the air. 3 minutes. We're into the 3-minute starting sequence. And for those of you who haven't been watching all day, we were chatting about the starts of these races. So some years they do a beach start, but this year it is a water start, which means there's about 100 meters of a gap between the big yellow triangles that you're seeing out there on the water, about 100 meters, and all boats have to line up behind that. Where you go, it does not matter. It is all about where you're going to get advantage, where there's going to be space, where you can get off to a nice, quick, clean start. So we're seeing a good bit of bunching over on the far side of our screen. And then there's probably a little bit more room here closest to us. So some crews are aiming for using the wind as their advantage and the conditions, and then other crews go with where can I get space, where can I get a clean start without clashing oars. Here closest to us we have 225, that is Turkiye 05. And we have 2-1-2, that is Belgium 0-1.
Yeah, which is just interesting that then the draw that comes out in no way relates to the positions at the start. As a flat water rower, I'm kind of getting used to it. Right, okay.
If it was a beach sprint or beach start, it
Yeah,
would. They would line up
They
in
would line up.
line. Whereas
They
this,
can line up anywhere.
it's a free-for-all.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So one ball left and less than a minute to go before the start of this Heat 2 of the men's club coastals.
What I'm noticing is crews are being very cautious and are staying a good bit back behind the line. Other years, what you would see is them literally at full speed as they go through it.
Is that because it's a heat and not a final?
Potentially, we may see it more so tomorrow, particularly in the A finals. But also, like, you do want to be careful. You don't want to go over that start line before that hooter goes. Do not want to get that time to penalty, because that is really race over.
So they're kind of waiting for the hooter. I guess they're not looking at the ball. I mean, I'm looking at the ball here to see when it drops.
Oh, so you're seeing a crew. I'm wondering, is that USA starting to make a move?
Oh, that's interesting.
And
there we go.
2:01
there we go.
here
It's
as
down.
well.
So they've guessed the time. I think they're looking at their watch.
Absolutely, yeah.
So there's about a minute. So is that USA in second place, maybe?
It certainly looks like Chris back in his white baseball cap over on that far side, I think.
Yeah.
They might be in an early lead already. Himself and Corey Rogers, they won the World Rowing Coastal Championships back in Barletta 2023, even after making a bit of a mistake on the course. So they're going to be favourites to watch. We also have Spain 0-1, which are the closest one to us. We're just flying over them on the drone. I say we're not. We're on land.
Yeah, Marcus Salas Cordoba and Nick Iborra Mira, young crew, 25 and 19.
Yeah.
Spanish, and these crews will just conflate, won't they? They'll come together as we go round that first buoy, and they're going out from us at the moment, aren't they? Away from the beach, as we see crew 206 there. That's Spain 2, Reynosa and Arenas.
And we have 208 here. Ireland 0-1 Ring Rowing Club, Noel Creedon and Neil O'Sullivan. They're looking actually like, are they the leaders right now? So they finished second last year at the European Rowing Championships. They're a club that's just over the road from my own at home in West Cork. Incredibly strong, so silver medalists. I know they're going to hope for one better this year.
Steve, it sounds like Cork is populated by coastal rowing clubs.
Oh, massively, massively, yeah. So traditional coastal rowing, I started it when I was 8. A lot of these rowers would have started very young with the traditional fixed timber boats. And, you know, we've moved into the coastal sculling over the last few years. But we have certainly a lot of clubs in Cork, in West Cork in particular. It's a great battle here already happening between Ireland 0-1 and Spain 0-2.
So where's the USA? Are they back in third place? Are we seeing them?
I'm not sure if they've gone completely.
So we need to check whether they've gone or that's them back in third place.
Potentially Neil O'Sullivan's white hat is the one I was looking at, and I thought it was Christopher Bax.
No, that's a great shout to actually... and there comes a boat behind the multicoloured boat, which we've seen, which is...
217.
Yeah, that's a great shout. So 217.
No, I'm wrong. Well, the drone is certainly staying with Ring Rowing Club, Neil O'Sullivan and Noel Creedon. Incredibly strong rowers. They're actually coastal rowers who have gone to flatwater in the last couple of years and have really upped their game in terms of their rowing.
That's an interesting shout that you can actually, you know, move on by doing flatwater rowing and then coming back into the boat.
So they had the water skills, the sea skills, the navigation skills from the coastal. Then they went to the classic, I suppose, to learn more technique and that speed. But yeah, lovely race happening here between Ireland 0-1 Ring Rowing Club and Spain 0-2.
Yeah,
Ivan
I want to
and
say
Jamie.
that's Belgium, actually.
They were at, did have a nice strong start.
That's 2:11. So no, that's the Équipe Française, Boulet and Thomas. from San Malo,
They are reigning champions from the Europeans last year.
which were held in Gdansk, yeah?
Yeah, so you first and second place here.
And there's the Belgian crew. So Belgium are also rowing in a similar multicoloured boat from the Liège club. Ben Louis and Savin Rodenberg, youngsters, just 22 years of age, tracking the French. So I'm thinking the French are just going to go straight through here. I mean, you know, they seem to have, I'm guessing they've made up distance, but that is another crew. Who's going through there? So that's crew 210, is that? So that's the British crew. That's Jerry Owen, who just missed the beach sprint team. So he's here in the coastals with Charlie Cousins. So
Yeah.
This is a great race, isn't it?
This is, yeah, the men's double
There
are
he
always
is.
super exciting.
So there's Cousins with the blue cap. Keep an eye out for that. Boat 201 just going a little bit off course is the Spanish from Alicante.
We have Finlando one there in the white boat.
And so they're now going on, so they've now gone out from the beach. And, oh, he's going the...
Wrong side, yeah. We have the last crew there. They almost went to the wrong side of that turning point. That is not what you want to do because you'll get a DNF, do not finish, if they go the wrong side, or else you're having to go back around and add time to yourself. So that's 2:07. That is Germany 02.
And I kind of want to say, in terms of times, the quickest time around that buoy was pretty similar to the Dutch in the first heat. So 4:07, the Dutch in the first heat did a 4:05 out to that first buoy.
So the Spanish look like they've overtaken Ireland, just about. But there's a long leg here. We have 750 meters now towards turning point 2. And crew 211, which is France 01, so the reigning European Championships really pushing themselves right into the mix.
I'm saying the French are going to be in front by the next buoy. At the speed they're going at.
The speed, yeah. The advantage right away goes to those leading boats. But look, Ringer, actually, Ireland are pushing themselves out wide to avoid a collision. You're better off doing that. Is this Charlie with the blue hat you mentioned?
That's a good shout. Yeah, Charlie Cousins has got the blue hat.
They look like they're moving as well.
They do look like they're moving. And his partner, Jerry Owen, as we said earlier, he is the spare for the beach sprint team. And so he's racing here. Coastals. What happened there, Niamh?
Ireland won, really slowing down here. The French, as you'd mentioned, just completely rode through them.
Yeah, like they weren't there. So it's France marginally in the lead, but I mean we don't know their course on that buoy. They're just, well, they're losing time now because they're correcting on their port side oars, the stroke side, just to go a little bit closer by the looks of it. Charlie Cousins and his partner Jerry Owen. Is that them in third or fourth place?
It looks like fourth position right now because Ireland 01 are in third
and the
at the moment.
Belgians, so Louis and Rodenberg back in fifth place. But what happened there? The French were in the lead and they're not in the lead now. There was a course correction, wasn't it? They felt they were too far over, and that can just show you that navigation is just absolutely paramount on this.
Yeah, and I think Ireland 01 actually just got out of the way of them because they knew there was something going wrong. You really have to trust your own instincts when you're out here. So here we have
third and fourth.
Third and fourth. So we have Ireland closest to us. We have Great Britain, Charles and Jerry, right up there on the far side.
So Charlie Cousins, I saw him when he beat Alan Campbell in the singles trials back in the British rowing squad base at Caversham. I can't remember, I think it was before 2012. But he's a fearsome single sculler. And, okay, he's kind of rowing masters now. So again, is that the Spanish got round a little quicker than the French? So again, being forced outside, not the best turn from the French. I would say their straight line speed is quicker, the French.
Certainly, yeah. There is nice long legs that the straight line speed does absolutely, you know, you can take advantage, but you have to be able to turn well. You know, that's Finland 01 here now.
Yeah, the two scullers, Nakarainen and Kapui, 32 and 44-year-olds.
I think Joel was taken out of this. You
Oh,
mentioned
right,
earlier.
so he's not in
'cause
it.
Who I haven't seen, maybe the drone has just missed them, is that USA 01, Chris Black and Corey Rogers, 214. I haven't seen them yet. Not sure where they're coming right now.
Yeah, so let's do a hunt for 214 on the us on social media, and we will be right there to commentate on them.
I feel like they were in that leading bunch going by the times from, like, we'll say earlier on in the race. We only get times at certain turning markers. So crews now, after making their way around turning point 3, they're heading back towards perpendicular to the beach, straight back to the beach, 650 meters here. So they're going to have the wind with them. They're going to take advantage of that. But it is quite swelly out there. A bit of bouncing going on.
I want to say that's the French in the front.
You think they've gotten back in the front?
I do.
That's Ireland. The drone has just gone over. So Ireland currently sitting in 4th,
Yeah.
Great Britain in 3rd, and then we have the French and the Spanish.
So it wasn't the French in front.
It's the Spanish
Yeah, it's
crew.
the Spanish. So the French haven't got through them.
That Spanish crew are very strong.
So this is going to be so much fun around the buoy. There's Cousins and Owen coming round.
Charles Cousins has turned into an incredible beach sprinter.
How crucial is this turn going to be?
Very, very
French,
crucial.
The French, I think, could have turned earlier, got closer to that buoy.
Avoiding
But
collisions.
they've messed up. They've messed up the British, haven't they? All
They
that
have.
work that Cousins and Owen, they kind of lost it on the turn. There's a much tighter turn from the crew in 4th
Oh,
place.
collision.
208.
We have 214. That is USA. We've been talking about them. And 212, Belgium.
Yeah, and USA going off ahead of Belgium there.
Then we have 201.
So we have seen crews go round
Spain
this
on.
smoothly, but they're taking, it seems like quite a few strokes to get round. Almost like they need to turn earlier. You know, they're backing it down. So crew 236 there from Turkiye 4, Sendler and Carrick, they actually slowed the boat down. So I think there's holding the blades and actually pushing them away from you and backing down, which does really stop the boat. Turns it quicker, but you lose loads of momentum.
But the wind is at a direction that is actually pushing them towards shore. So they do want to back that little bit so that, because they're going to have to head back out again a little bit. So they do want to back just to get their bow in the right angle.
Is that a sailing boat that we saw on the left of the screen there? It just looked like a square rig sailing boat. So there's the French and there's the Spanish and there's the British in 3rd place. I think we're looking at the race for the top 3
Leaders.
places. And the French are over there on the inside coming back. And this should be to their advantage. They haven't been great on the turns. And to be fair, I don't think their navigation has been good as the Spanish, but straight line speed has been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cousins and Owen lost a bit of time on the turn, but they're still there, aren't they? I mean, there's enough sort of seawater left in this.
So here we're looking at the French crew closest to our screen here. We have the Spanish, that's Spain 02. They're on the far side. So literally stroke for stroke here. And as you said, it's a big, long, this is a 1K leg. So lots of time for the French to get themselves into the lead before they have 3 more turning points.
Yeah, and so if you know France, Saint-Malo is in the north of France, just down there on the corner of Normandy and Brittany, and the ferry goes in there if you get the ferry from Portsmouth over to Saint-Malo, and it's a big coastal rowing centre, and they'll be able to row on the sea, you know, conditions permitting all year round. I think the British are closing on the Spanish on this leg, and that means they are closing on the French, but the French are drawing away from the Spanish. I kind of want to say this would be quite a good finish because there's going to be a lot on the turns on the boys as we come into the chicane.
So reigning European champions here closest to us on the screen, really working hard. You do, at this point in the race, you'd love to get into the lead here, coming into the next 3 turning points.
I'll tell you what would be good if we had a little sort of line with a GPS that plotting their course to the buoy and see who's on the best course.
Yes.
Because that would really give us an indication of do they have to make course corrections. Spanish are really pushing that back end, aren't they, the finish, really strong finishes.
Yeah.
And I think that's an attempt to try and get to the buoy first. The British have had to make a correction.
But they're coming right into that top 3 spot.
They are.
Yeah, Great Britain there, getting themselves right up alongside Spain now. So going by the line, they're going to have to go on the far side, the outside of this buoy, to get around the chicane. So Great Britain aren't in an ideal. They definitely have the inside line, but they could very easily get caught if Spain don't go around quick enough.
So we need to know where the buoy is because the French are going into it. Do you reckon Spain have got the best line and Britain are following the Spain? So the Spanish have now got into the lead.
So here we have the turning marker here. So the French are going to be sent out wide. Spanish have the tightest line. Can they get their speed not to drop too much?
So
Great Britain had a nice turn as well.
British have had a great turn there for the British. What a fantastic turn. I hardly lost anything. The French have lost. The French have sprinted out of the turn to try and get back in front.
Yeah, because we have the second turn of the chicane here now. This is Ireland, 01. Neil O'Sullivan in the stroke seat, Noel Creedon in the bow seat. They're sitting in 4th position. We have USA after coming into the mix here now. They're in 5th.
Yeah, and they're going to be pleased with that.
Yeah.
They're here to, be in A finals and compete. 5th place will get them into the A final. Top 9 will go into the A final.
Belgium here now, 6th position. And 201.
Yeah.
Spain 01. Alicante.
That's the Alicante club. So there we see the French didn't quite capitalise on that very good turn, and it's a slow turn for the British. That's where they're losing a couple of lengths, and that's so frustrating because you make the speed up on the straight line, and then the turn, you can lose 2-3 lengths, bam, just like that. Oh, what a great turn.
Yeah.
So that's 2:11. That was a fantastic
France.
turn. That was the French coming round.
Oh, where is Spain going? Spain are gone way wide. Oh, Spain are being clever. Spain are angled straight in for the beach. They did that on purpose. I thought it was a mistake.
So talk to me about that.
Although now they're going the wrong direction again, so now they're angled this way. So it looked like, because they've probably been watching the earlier races, they knew that if they overturned, they would head down the beach and have a big run, whereas they went nice and wide, angle their bow, we'll say, above where we are, so that they'd have a straighter line in. But going by, the French have a lovely line now coming in. They're the yellow on the screen.
So the French, I think the class finally did out in that race.
Yeah.
Lovely drone shots. Look round from Boulet in the bows. He's going to be the one running up first. They've got a pretty decent lead, but they're all quite close together relatively after 4K. And it's been nip and tuck, hasn't it? Boulet jumps out the boat. There he goes. He's on dry land. Lovely dismount, I thought.
Lovely. That's something you have to practice and get right and time right.
No jump across the line from Boulet. And there is Spain, Carrillo Reynosa.
That is Spain 02. Jerry Owen here, very experienced coastal rower, coming in 3rd position.
Yeah.
Lovely race there by Great Britain. I don't think they had the best of starts, but really got themselves into the mix.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah, should be Ireland 01 now coming in, but I'm not seeing where they are.
That's the red tops.
I feel like they've actually fallen back. They're the yellow boat.
So who's this in the red top? So actually well spotted, Niamh.
Yeah,
so we've
Belgium.
We've got the Belgian team.
Oh, Ireland are being taken down.
So Belgium have got a lovely line into the beach, and Ben Louis is out the boat and sprinting for the finish line there. The 22-year-old looking behind him, but he doesn't need to worry.
And USA with Corey Rogers there, took advantage of that. those conditions, they're coming in that 5th position. Ireland were just taken by the waves there. They had no chance against them.
I wouldn't say that's a sprint, but this isn't beach sprints, it's coastal.
This is also Noel Creedon, and Noel likes to conserve his energy where he can.
Well, he's definitely conserving energy there. Salas from the Spain, one boat, Marcos Salas Cordoba.
Oh, 2 more to come in to take those 8 final spots.
And
Turkiye.
Semplat from Turkiye, 4, MS Semplat, 17-year-old. And that is the Latvian competitor, Romeo Mendes.
Looks like they're the last to qualify for the A final.
That's well managed. So the rest of these crews will be heading for the B final. And this is the Finland crew. And that is with their sculler Makele, and Capi is the bowman sprinting across the line. We don't think there'll be an A final place for them.
So 3 more crews to come. The 2 of them just going around that final turning point. And then the 1 coming into the beach here now to the finish line. Very hard to see.
Yeah, he hasn't got a name on his...
It is one of the Turkish crews.
It is one of the Turkish crews. And I guess if you're a new competitor, you might not yet have a suit with a name on.
So 2 crews to go. They're on their final sprint into the beach. You can see one of them is after catching a wave. Not at a great time because they're not in control of it. The wave is controlling them. They're now gone sideways. And they're now facing back out now. So they're going to have to do a big course correction.
What's the technique for catching a wave then?
So you have to time it right. You have to be with the power of the wave and not let it go too quick under you, because otherwise it will take you with it. So you have to match your speed with the speed of the wave. So really upping the rate just as it catches the stern. And then you'll ride it. It's just like surfing. You have to ride it in.
Yeah.
If it's too fast for you, it will just speed under you.
So this is Turkiye 05 that were coming in first. So Veiltuna Güneş, 24-year-old, will be jumping out of the bows of that boat. There he goes. And a little bit off course. But that's what I call a sprint for the line that Güneş has made. And then I think that's going to be Germany. So Germany, that's the crew from Flensburg. Niklas Meyer, 34-year-old. Gentle jog up to the line from 34-year-old Flensburg sculler. And we have all competitors, all 13 boats in that final heat of this morning. Or this morning and this afternoon, early afternoon racing. It is now nearly 2 o'clock here in Turkey. And the next races you will see will be the B finals. That will be later on this afternoon.
I believe it's 3 p.m. local time. So just over an hour to go to the first of the B finals. That will be the Club Coastal Men's Solo, followed by the Club Coastal Women's Quadruple Sculls at 3:30 local time. And then the Club Coastal Men's Double B final at 4 p.m. local time. So 3 final Bs to come. Martin, your first day of coastal racing, how has it been for you?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I loved it, to be quite honest. The coastal endurance racing, and I think just seeing the tactics, seeing like in the last race, the British, catching up the Spanish and then just losing so much time with the boys, seeing, as you said, like catching the waves incorrectly and just losing position, seeing how the clever crews can sprint in on that last bit. Everything, in glorious sunshine, sparkling water, beautiful sands. I mean, what more could you want?
I know, what more could you want? It's absolutely beautiful here. So that concludes the heats from the 2025 European Rowing Coastal and Beach Sprint Championships. This is our schedule for the afternoon, 3 p.m. local time. We will have the Club Coastal Men's Solo Final B, followed by the Club Coastal Women's Coxed Quadruple Sculls and Club Coastal Men's Double Sculls Final B at 4 p.m. local time.
So until then, we will join you around about 5 minutes to 3, 14:55 local time. That's 13:55 Central European Summer Time. And we look forward to your company for those B finals. But until then, from me, Martin Cross, and from my co-commentator, Niamh Hayes, it's goodbye for now.
Goodbye.